about you, but if that doesn't get you pumped up, nothing will.
I need a moment. Like, where's the tissues? I'm crying. I didn't know whether I should like stand and put my hand over my heart. Oh man.
Yeah, I used to have an old version of that somewhere, right? And I thought that'd be perfect for this stream tonight, and I could not find it anywhere, so I had to cut together a new one in the space of like 20 minutes or so. That was the best I could do right there. I'm sure I missed a couple that used to be on the old video, but never mind. It did an okay job as an intro right there.
A fantastic job. Well done. Well done. Thank you.
And that's it, everyone. That's the stream over. It's been nice doing this with you. Catch you later. Welcome, everyone. This is Drinkers Happy Hour. I haven't done one of these in a while, and normally they're on a specific movie, but I was chatting to this fine gentleman here, Danquish. He's been on a bunch of these with me before in the past, usually talking about like 80s and 90s movies. And it's been quite a while since we've done one. And I think you were just lamenting how we were really spoiled as kids growing up in the 80s and 90s, and, you know, being treated to like so many of these movies that started out these incredible franchises, whether it was like Indiana Jones or Predator or Terminator or Aliens or whatever else. We got all of that growing up. That was our like education in action movies. And
absolutely.
Man, we were lucky. And we thought, why not just talk about that? Why not just like cover the entire breadth of like 80s and 90s movies in one little stream? So yeah,
we'll try to keep it concise, and I'll try not to trail off too much.
We'll do our best. Yeah. I mean, I guess because like where on earth do you even begin with something like this? I mean, I suppose because Predator Badlands has just come out, it obviously got us thinking about, well, there's two that are out at the moment. The Running Man, which is a remake of the Arnold movie, and Predator Badlands, which is like the 27th Predator movie in a row. Yeah, it gets you thinking about the original, and wow, that was a damn good movie. Possibly one of the greatest action flicks ever made. And
it really was. Like, I mean, I'll be the first one to admit that I'm biased. You know, and it's, I believe I was saying to you not that long ago, full disclosure, I'm an 80s kid, so I'm biased, and I am right in that prime demographic right now for nostalgia baiting, you know, and it happens to every generation.
Message on your phone. You can say hang that up.
Someone wants you there.
Stupid glasses, shut up.
It's all right.
Like, every generation has this. Nostalgia is a powerful drug, right?
Yes.
And every generation, when they get older, the culture, the market, everything like that will align itself to that generation when they get older and they've got money in their pocket, and then they start remembering the good old days. Like, you know, the generation before me is no different. But I'm Gen Z, like 100% Gen Z. So I'm in that prime market now where we look back and we go to the grocery store and they're playing the oldies, and it's like, holy crap, what? I was just listening to this. How did this happen? And I'm biased towards, you know, the music, the entertainment, the clothing, all of it. So I'm not going to say that these are the pinnacles of human artistry,
but they are.
If I'm going to be biased, I mean, with each passing year and the more movies that come out, I just shake my head and say, wow, did we ever have it good in those days? Like, the reason why I wanted to chat about this with you is like your videos that you've been doing of like why modern movies suck. You know, they're very thorough, and I just find myself nodding along and just like in total agreement. And then I was sitting on the deck one day, just pondering all of it. And I was just writing it all down. Why? Like, why is it that the movies in the 80s were so good? How? Like, what went wrong? Literally.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to discuss.
No, for sure. And like, I think something like Predator would be a great example and a good place to start, because it was a movie that I think now there's a tendency amongst the media literate class to almost look down on it as like, well, this is a big dumb action movie.
For sure,
like,
yeah.
You know, a bunch of like, you know, big sweaty 80s action stars, and that's kind of all there is to it. And it's like, it overlooks like what a tremendously smart film it was to blend different genres together to give you that crazy bait and switch of, you think it's just a standard action flick, team sent in to rescue some hostages and take out some bad guys. And then it transitions into like sci-fi horror territory. And then it goes from that into like a survival story, like a guy pitted against the elements and against this enemy that's stalking him. And it does all of that in a pretty lean, concise script that never feels bloated, never wastes time. And all of the switches that take place, like the switch from action movie to horror, and then from horror to survival and the final battle, it all feels like a natural progression. And it takes a lot of skill to have a script like that.
Absolutely.
Pair that with like a really capable action director in John McTiernan and this incredible cast, like, you know, Jesse Ventura, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bill Duke, Carl Weathers, like just some of the big names of 1980s action, all together into that one movie. Even Jean-Claude Van Damme was there for about 5 minutes.
For a brief moment, yeah, the brief trivia there. I actually just watched Predator again the other night. You know, like I usually watch that at least once a month, but I just really wanted to watch it again just because I had just seen Badlands. And okay, yeah, I agree with everything that you said, and I don't need to go on a long-winded rant about that. But let's just compare it with the original Predator and try to distill it down. Okay, why was Predator better? Like,
yeah,
I get it. People's tastes are subjective, and it's like if someone went and saw Badlands and was like, "That's the greatest thing I've ever seen. I loved it. I can't wait to watch it again." You know what? Fine. There's so little joy in the world these days. If you can find joy in that, have at it. But objectively, come on, you can't compare the two. Like the Predator Badlands, I was shaking my head. What is this? This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you were to then compare them, so, you know, based on what I said about the first Predator movie, how it's like, you know, it does action very well. It does blending of different genres very well.
Exactly.
You know, the dialogue's pretty sharp. It's got a little bit of quippy humor amongst the team, but that soon vanishes when shit gets real. It somehow teases a superb performance out of Arnold Schwarzenegger, but like all those things, okay, it does extremely well, and to the point where it's a movie that's infinitely rewatchable, and it's just, you know, stood the test of time surprisingly well. Compare that then to something like Badlands, where it's like essentially it's a stock space sci-fi adventure story, right? As people have pointed out, and I'm not the first and I won't be the last, it feels very much like just a leftover script from Star Wars or something like that. You know, a bounty hunter or some kind of hunter is exiled from his people, has to prove himself by going to a planet to kill a dangerous beast, meets a friendly companion along the way. They get on wacky adventures together, and there's even a cute animal sidekick. And then they have to take on some bad corporate types to save the day. You know, it is a stock script that could have come from anywhere. It doesn't feel unique to the Predator franchise or the Predator universe, and it's just been ported into that. And that's the thing that, you know, obviously combine that problem with the fact that there's way too much humor in it. It never takes itself seriously enough. The android is annoying as fuck. All of those things, it all creates a movie that you really don't want to rewatch again. And I guarantee you, 20 years from now, like fucking 2 years from now, nobody will even remember that Badlands existed. No one will be able to tell you anything about that movie.
2 years. I mean, the following morning, my wife asked me, "So how was Badlands?" And like, God bless my wife, she listens to a lot. But I couldn't even remember the name of the android and her sister that she kept pining for. Like it was that forgettable. And like to discuss the differences between the two, you're exactly right in regards to Predator, the pacing of it, the dialogue and everything. The quippy one-liners that they had are like incredibly memorable to this day. People still love quoting, you know, the conversation in the chopper and all that stuff. But it wasn't like modern movies where everyone has to come up with a snappy, quippy line all the time. Like
it wasn't pop culture references for a start.
Well, exactly. But when shit got real and they were in the jungle and they realized that they were in peril, you know, like Billy, the big, strong, stoic guy, "I'm afraid. bullshit.
Yeah.
You're not afraid. Like, you felt peril because he was like, he didn't say, well, hey guys, I guess we're all gonna die now, right? And then they all have a competition as to who can be the funniest. Like, that is what bugs me the most about modern movies, where it's like Independence Day Resurgence. I'm sorry, I did watch that movie. And then also, what was the other one? Pacific Rim Uprising.
Yeah.
There was no sense of peril or danger. And when they were in what was supposed to be a dangerous situation, everyone's making off the cuff quippy remarks. Like, no, if you are genuinely in peril, you're not going to be trying to think of what's the funniest thing I can say right now to lighten the mood. What? It takes the audience out of it, and you don't believe that they're in peril. And now we've got the modern trope of there are no consequences to anything, because no one ever dies, because you just press the magical bullshit no consequence button and they come back from the dead, or they jump into an alternate universe. Like, there's no consequences. You don't feel anything for these characters.
Well, sometimes they don't even bother to explain it in modern movies. Like the one that stuck out for me recently was Jurassic World Rebirth, where Mahershala Ali's character, right, he stays behind to distract the Bella Ramseyosaurus, and let the others escape. And you're like, oh, okay, because the last time you see him, he's like holding up a flare or something, and it follows him into the jungle, and you're like, he's been killed by this thing so that the others could escape. Okay, it's still a shit movie, but the character sacrificed himself. That's nice. And then they just turn around and go back, and there he is. He's like, hey guys, I survived. Like,
really? I mean, I didn't survive.
See it. Yeah, no, that's literally what happens. And it's like,
wow.
How did you escape the Bellosaurus Rex? I
don't know.
Yeah, just don't worry about it. It's just like, and you can 100% tell that was just like reshoots. Like, it tested bad with audiences. They didn't like that a good person died. Undo it. We'll bring it back to life. And it's like that degree of cowardice cheap. That's just, it's cheap, man.
Like, again, going back to Predator, like, I mean, I could spend the entire stream just talking about why that movie was great. And you're exactly right. Like, it wasn't long drawn out. This isn't like a 2-hour movie. Very concise, but it didn't feel like anything was left out. You got the peril. You got people who died for real, like, poor Poncho. I can make it, and then he's like, like, I've had 4 broken ribs before, and that hurts like hell. So when this guy got hit by a tree and he's like, I can make it, like, I'm just like rooting for him, and then bam, he gets killed. Or Billy doesn't even get a chance. Like, he went with the knife, kind of thing. The predator comes up from behind him, and he's gone. He doesn't show up later and say, well, I just made it, and I picked up with this furry raccoon who helped me. He spoke words of wisdom into my ear. There was none of that. There was finality to the characters. And yes, it was supposed to be an Arnold Schwarzenegger vehicle, so of course he's the victor at the end. But just the whole concept of now when they're mano a mano, and the predator is just like, all right, I want to find out what makes you so special. Oh, sorry. Yep. All right.
Why don't we have the Predator soundtrack going there?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to take these stupid things off. But then
these are low tech, man. They don't play tunes to you or anything.
Exactly. Okay. It's constantly devices are cool. But then they have this mano a mano fight, right, where the predator takes off all of his tech, and then they just like bare knuckle brawl. And for the first time, really, in a 80s movie, Arnold gets the shit beaten out of him. Yeah, because he's usually he was the Terminator before, and so
because he's such a big guy, movies always made a point of like showcasing how strong he was. Like they would have him fucking lifting cars and like bending like metal bars and things like that, just to showcase how big this guy was. And so you were used to him being this larger than life personality in every movie, and suddenly
it showed vulnerability in him.
Yeah, suddenly he's up against this thing which towers over him and is clearly like way more physically dominant than him, and just dismantles him in a fight. And he's absolutely destroyed by the end of it. And then compare it to something like Prey, where what's her name, Naru, is roughly 1/4 the size and weight of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I'm pretty sure he could eat her for breakfast.
Exactly.
But yeah, like she easily defeats this predator and like comes away with barely a scratch on her. It's super easy for her to beat this thing. Barely an inconvenience, you might say.
I'll give.
Just like, where's the weight? Where's the consequences for all this? Where's the sense of peril, like you said?
I'm going to give Prey the benefit of the doubt in that when we watched it, yes, we were rolling our eyes at the beginning for those exact reasons. It's like, okay, this is going to be a girl boss movie kind of thing. And I agree with you that she beats it easily kind of thing. But I watched it again, and visually, like, I thought the cinematography was great. I loved how they built upon the Predator. Like, this was a Predator we hadn't seen before, and he had some gadgets we had never seen before either, but he acted very Predator-like. And she held her own in the places where it mattered. Like when she took on the French hunters, you know, she was very skilled with her axe. You know, she wouldn't be able to beat any of them one-on-one, but she was very skilled. And when she went up against the Predator at the end, I'm going to say the reason why she was able to defeat him is because he was so injured at that point. She had like lopped off his arm. So maybe he wasn't, like, he was wounded and maybe not thinking quite straight, right? So that's why she was perhaps able to defeat him. That's the excuse that I want to give it, because I don't want to hate on it completely. I think it had its merits, and she wasn't as girl bossy as, say, Brie Larson would be in that role.
No, I mean, for sure, yeah. And if I was to compare Prey to something like Badlands, I would put it way above that. Like,
there's no
infinitely
comparison.
better movie.
There's no comparison between the two. I think Prey was definitely an enjoyable watch. It had its moments of tension. Like, it was brutal in a awesome way. Like when
it had nice moments of violence in it, for sure.
It did. Like when it takes out her squad with those guys, the males in the tribe, it just like lops his legs off, and the guy's just screaming. And it had all of the elements that make a Predator movie a Predator movie. Like, this otherworld being is brutal, and that's what he does. And as a viewer, I don't want any more. I don't need to know any more than that. I don't want to know what your family dynamic is like. I don't know what is your relationship with your Yautja father. I don't care. Like, don't tell me any of that.
You don't want a Predator talking about his feelings?
No, I don't want to know what your relationship with your brother is like. No, that's not what a Predator really should be, I think.
There's a good question here, actually, because this is one of my few criticisms of the movie. And Mauler and I were talking about this the other day, because The Thing does something exactly like this, where it shows the alien spacecraft arriving, and it gives the game away a bit early. It says, I had no recollection of the opening scene with the arrival of the spaceship. Do you feel like it's a bit of a spoiler revealing that right away? I personally do, yeah. I think you could have easily started the movie without showing any of that. Didn't need to see it.
What are we referencing? Predator?
Predator, yeah. So that opening scene of like the ship flying past Earth, and then the pod comes off it to like land on Earth. I didn't need to see that. I would rather have not known right off the bat that it was an alien.
For the record, my wife and I were just talking about this again the other day. That was enough exposition for me. Like, I remember seeing this movie in the theater. My older brother snuck me in to see it, and it was amazing. Like, here's your opening credits, and then, the ship splits off, and that was it. That was all the exposition that the audience got. If you were to do that nowadays, there would be some long, like, voiceover, probably voiced by Zendaya, talking about how, ages ago, this and this, and then it would be 20 minutes of exposition. And you just talked about this in your Running Man video, just spoon feeding it all to the audience as if they're dumb and they can't figure it out. What that opening sequence conveyed was, do you remember at the beginning of the movie? Like, after you get over the buzz of the entire movie, you remember, wow, wait a second, there was something that it split off from. That must mean that there are more of them.
Yeah.
And okay, so he's not the only one of his kind, but you're left to wonder. And I think that, that was kind of cool. And then they did more of that in Predator 2. They expanded the lore a little bit by showing you the tribal mindset that they had. But again, they didn't over explain it. It was enough to tantalize you into thinking.
I think, yeah, with Predator 2 as well, they very much understood, like, okay, the audience now the audience now is in on the secret. They know
Right.
that this is an alien. They know kind of what the Predator is, and
Sure.
they obviously watched the first movie. They're going to be back to watch this one, so there's no point in pretending anything otherwise.
Right.
But yeah, like you say, they then give you a little bit more information about the Predators as a species. You get to see more of them. You get to see inside their spaceship. I never really understood how it ended up in a fucking subway tunnel, but whatever.
Don't know.
I don't know. But it's there.
But that was cool. And I actually just watched, there's a behind the scenes documentary on the making of Predator 2 where they interview, everyone, Gary Busey, God bless that guy, and the director. And, the little factoids that they throw out were really just awesome to listen to, how they came up with these various ideas. Like they debated whether or not they wanted to put the xenomorph skull in the trophy case. It was just kind of a
that one decision has a lot to answer for, man.
But that was on a whim. They were like, we need something to fill out this trophy case. Why don't we throw in a xenomorph thing and we won't focus too much on it? But it was one of those blink and you'll miss it kind of things. And I swear, like, that was lunch table talk for years after that, where all of us nerds would be saying, did you see the xenomorph skull in there? What would happen if a predator and an alien like met? Who would win? And then fist fights would happen in the cafeteria as we debated, which one was better. But that's how we rolled.
I definitely agree with this one. Why does everything need to be humanized? I don't need to relate to everything in existence. And the Predator is a perfect example. The fact that they gave him a more obviously humanoid face compared to the other Predators, like, so that he has more realistic human expressions, like when he's terrified and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just thought, no, this is not what I want from the Yautja.
Absolutely.
Like, I want them to be these mysterious, terrifying hunters that are also monstrous in their appearance. And I love that dichotomy, actually, between their super advanced technology and the fact that they look like fucking terrifying monsters.
Which was just, again, fascinating. Like, I wish I could try and explain in proper words what it was like in 1987 when we saw this movie on the screen. Like, we knew the premise from the trailers that we saw on TV, but when it was finally displayed, and the way that the Predator is unveiled in the movie, he's watching and he's got this heat vision, and you hear this heartbeat, that is not human sounding, and then you've got these other weird sounds, and then the way that it was doing the recording, like recording their voices and playing it back, that was creepy as hell. And then anytime, once, turn around, like stuff like that. And then the first thing that you see is like his hand picking the scorpion up, right? And you see, it's got a, like a 5-digit hand kind of thing. So you get a little bit of an idea of what it is that you might be seeing, because up until now you saw nothing.
And like it's very smart in how it gradually introduces it, because, like you say, you see it from the Predator's point of view. It's all just the heat vision. Then you see the hand in thermal vision, so you only see the outline of it. Then you see it like attack Billy. No, not Billy. Sorry, Blaine.
Poncho. Blaine.
No, Blaine. Yeah, takes him out, and then they shoot at it, and it's just like this shape moving through the jungle because it's still got its camouflage on. Then you see it tending to its injuries, and like you just get real close-ups of like the wound and the fact that it's leaking like fluorescent green blood. And then you get that one quick shot of it when it pulls the bullet out and it goes like roars with pain.
Yes.
And it's just like half a second flash. So you've got this rough idea of what it looks like, but not really. And then it's not until much later that it finally disengages the camo, and then you really see it for what it is. And that moment when it takes the mask off and you see its actual face, it's the timing of it is superb.
And that's a pivotal thing. Yeah. That is a pivotal part of the movie. Like, again, I'm not going to say that this is high art, but we need to distill what made this original movie so good and so compelling. When you cover the face of anything, it's very disassociative and very frightening. And so up until this point, it had this full covering face mask, which made it, like, when you fully did see it, it was like, wow, that's a frightening looking thing. And then when it takes its mask off and you see this horrible looking thing, Arnold's reaction, as funny as the line is, felt very genuine. Because what else are you going to say when you are face to face with this thing you've never seen before? And you could argue that that was kind of like a silly, jokey kind of thing comment, but he's so overwhelmed by what he just saw that the only thing he's going to say is like,
you know what I always interpreted that as, I think the movie and the filmmakers were trying to cover their asses a little bit.
Okay.
Because they like, how can I put this? Say he'd taken the mask off, right? And it was like this really goofy looking rubber, like alien face or whatever.
Sure.
Like, say they didn't quite, like Stan Winston and his team didn't do a great job on it. It would have been hilarious. Like, people would, like, that is a pivotal moment in the movie. It needs to look terrifying. But say it didn't quite work right and people were like laughing at it. That line from Arnold would have diffused that to some extent, where he's like, hey, ugly motherfucker.
Yeah.
As it turned out, though, the creature design in this movie is some of the best you'll ever see. Like, that and the xenomorph are just superb. And it's like, that's why something like Badlands hurts so much, to see how shit the Predator face design is. But when you take that mask off and you see it for the first time, it's this genuinely, like, gorgeous, but in the worst way possible design, where it's like genuinely alien looking. It looks thoroughly weird and kind of monstrous, but believable at the same time. And I think that is an incredible piece of work.
I wanted to make a point of that as well. Like, credit to Stan Winston again and his entire creature department, and also Kevin Peter Hall, who had to wear this monstrous rubber latex suit, right? But it was so important because the actors, in this case, Schwarzenegger, needed something to react to. If the Predator was like it was in Badlands and it's all CG, the actor, what are you reacting to? Like, the director says, okay, action, and you're reacting to a stick with a tennis ball on it, and we'll be like, we're gonna add that in later. Well, okay, if you're a decent enough actor, you could pretend what you're looking at. But when you've got practical special effects and you had the animatronic remote control mandibles on the face and everything, like, Schwarzenegger's looking at it and he's literally seeing what we're seeing as the audience, and so it just makes his reaction to it more believable. So credit to practical effects.
I want to give a shout out to this movie as well, Screamers, right?
Oh yeah.
Not a lot of people talk about it now.
Yeah.
I think it was direct to video. I can't be sure.
No, I saw it in theaters.
It did get a theatrical release, because it was Peter Weller that was in that, wasn't it? Yeah. I remember, like, I went to the local video store and rented it just because I was looking for like a sci-fi action movie. I think it was like really early 90s, maybe like 92, something like that.
It was post Robocop.
Yeah, it looked interesting. And then I watched it and I was like, this is actually kind of freaky, like the way this thing works. Like, the Screamers are like these like AI controlled kill bots, basically. And they burrow under the sand on the like it's like these humans who are in a sort of civil war on like another planet. They've been fighting each other, and one side's basically been wiped out by these things. They developed them and they turned against them. They can burrow under the ground and stuff, and then come up and they'll just like slice one of your limbs off and just like dismember you. But then they can start emulating human as well.
Exactly.
And it gets really like Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
It does.
Super underrated movie. I actually really enjoyed it. I definitely recommend it. I don't know how well it holds up now. Like, maybe if I watch it as like a 40-odd-year-old man, it wouldn't be quite as good, but
it definitely had its moments, like the little humanoid, the child, can I come with you? Like, oh man, it had moments that were just like, oh, I feel unsettled.
Yeah, because there's bits where they start to, like, they're in human form, but then they start to like change back into the machines, and it's like little kids and stuff like turning into these murderous monsters. Like, it's good stuff, man. It works really well.
It's worth watching just to sort of watch Peter Weller's acting in it, because you can see that he's trying to be something other than Robocop, but he's still got a little bit of the pantomime ingrained in him. So it's good for a chuckle in that regard. But
it's funny seeing these like actors who arguably are too good for the movie they're in, but like they're doing their best.
I mean, I'll always give mad props to Peter Weller for the amount of effort that he put into his role for Robocop 1 and 2. Like, because he studied the pantomime for months before the suit even arrived, and then when the suit finally did arrive, nothing fit right, and so he had to like kind of adjust accordingly. But his movements in that movie watch RoboCop 1 and 2, and then watch 3, and night and day difference. Yeah, like do so at your own peril. Make sure you've got some toilet duck on hand. But if you want to look at it from just a physical acting point of view, Robert John Burke, I think his name was, not even the same league. He was trying, and he was trying way too hard, and it shows on screen. But Peter Weller just had this beautiful movement where, you know, and that was another thing.
Very precise, very very robotic for obvious reasons.
Slightly exaggerated. Like if you think about how humans would normally move, you know, if you look over your shoulder, you're just going to look like this. Well, you know, Peter Weller had this whole kind of multi-limb movement kind of thing. And when you put the suit on it, it's just like, wow, you believe that this is a machine, a cyborg kind of thing. And like, I think in lots of movies have tried to copy it and they don't quite get it right. So
they obviously tried to do the remake of Robocop, and no one took to that. Yeah,
that made me sad. I think visually that remake had some beautiful visuals in it. Like I love the design of the suit and the autonomous police robots. Like I've actually got a figure of it somewhere in my cabinet over there, like a 1/8 scale. Beautiful design. I love the way that the guns come out, and they're cool looking. But it wasn't RoboCop. You know, like it lost so much of what made the original.
Well, I think you needed that Paul Verhoeven edge to it, like the satirical edge, like lampooning, like, you know, the ridiculous corporationism of 1980s America.
Sure.
I think that comes together into like a really interesting movie, because obviously he loves his violence and his gore as well, and you get a shit ton of that in RoboCop.
So over the top.
Yeah. I'll never forget the poor dude who gets taken out by the Ed 209, like in the boardroom, and it just keeps shooting him when he's like down.
You know, and if you've ever watched like the director's cut or whatever, the one that was like X-rated that they had to pare down, that scene goes on for like another 10, 15 seconds. It's just, yeah. And then the body is just like, you know, jibs flying all over the place. And you're just like, wow.
Well, they must have single-handedly put the US blood pack industry out of business. Like just used up everything they had.
Meanwhile, as a creative person, I'm looking at that model that he just fell on. Like, how much is it going to cost to remake that? I mean, geez,
that is true.
That's a delay right there.
Let me just answer a few super chats as we go, because I don't want to fall too far behind with them. First up is Robert Hayes says, "How off topic, but how about Dispatch 7 and 8?" Yes, good game. I very much enjoyed that one.
Dispatch 7.
Yeah, so it's an episodic game. So it's the same people who did, not the same people, but a lot of the same people who worked at Telltale Games. They formed a new studio, and they've made this like superhero, you know, choose your own adventure kind of game where you get different endings, all that sort of thing.
Cool.
And it's a lot of fun. I think my only criticism of it was like the overarching villain of the game doesn't really make his appearance until like the very end. Like it feels like a little bit they rushed it, whereas it would have been good to have more of a presence for him throughout the game. But yeah, like in terms of like the art style, the performances, the voice cast is superb. The dialogue is excellent. So definitely give, and you get some nice tits in it as well. So that's
really?
You know, the 1980s action fan definitely approves of that.
Is that on Steam? Because I'll buy that right now.
It should be, yeah, but you need to disable your age rating filter for it.
Okay.
Assuming you have one, which you probably don't.
I'll buy that for $1.
Yeah. Next one is Melvin Deeply. I know you, sir. It started with footballers wearing hairbands and sarongs and fake scars shaved into their eyebrows. God, I hate that fucking trend. They became role models for a generation. That's how we got so fucked. It's the pussification of men. Yeah, it's not great to witness, for sure, but I don't know. I think people have had enough of it now. Yeah, underrated gem, Runaway Train. Yes, that's John Voight in that. No, you're thinking of Money Train.
Okay.
So Runaway Train is Eric Roberts and John Voight, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, they're two cons who've escaped from prison, and they board a train. It ends up like hitting another train or something, and it kills the driver, and so it's like still going at full speed, and there's no way to stop it, so it's out of control.
Wow. Okay.
And yeah, it's just kind of a really cool movie. yeah, the Voight gives one of the best performances I think of his career. Like absolutely, just this enraged prisoner who's been fighting against the system his whole life. It's good shit, really good. I'd recommend it.
Well, I think that okay.
Oh, sorry. I rewatched the '87 Predator for the first time in a while. Back in the day, I could simply catch it on the air, and I would miss the first 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah, you can come in at any time with Predator, though. That's the great thing.
But you got to make sure that you see the iconic handshake of like, Dylan, you son of a bitch, you know, and then the you know, what's the matter, CIA? Got you pushing too many pencils?
Best goddamn handshake of the entire decade.
But that just sums up the 80s. Like, you know, as a kid sitting there watching in the theater, that was standard fare for all of the movies that we would see. Like, we didn't look at each other thinking, oh, this is stupid, or what a silly, what's this? You know, are they going to kiss now? No, it was the action movies. Like, that was what would happen. And it was just another day at the office, as it were, for these action movies.
I think they were self-aware enough in Predator and other movies like it to almost take it with a grain of salt. So when they're doing these like super macho moments, like there's a tiny bit of like tongue in cheek to it. You know, like when Blaine on the chopper is like, "This stuff will make you a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus,"
just like
and then it's just joking around. It's just for sure, guys mouthing off to each other because that's
get that stinking shit out of my face. Yeah, like, there's so many great lines in that movie.
Yeah, and then like we were saying earlier, you know, once the Predator like starts making its appearance known and people start getting killed off, that humor just goes like that because it's now time to flick out of like action movie mode into horror mode.
And there's a sense of peril where the mood starts to change, and and like you believe that none of these guys, like you believe that they're all capable, because when you had the scene where they go to destroy the village, like, okay, they killed one of the hostages, we move, you know, and then they, you know, you get this massive chest thumping, bullets flying, explosions, everyone's dying kind of thing. But each team member got to show why they are a capable member of the unit. You know, you got was it not Poncho? Yeah, it was Poncho with the M203 grenade launcher, and then that was the first time we had seen an M134 minigun used as a handheld. Like, when he, time to let old Painless out of the bag, unzip, click, clack, we were all like, what? Wait, what is this? And then fast forward to this scene, he bursts through the door.
Like, it's so funny because, like, you know, deep down, it's the most impractical infantry weapon that you could ever imagine. Even if it did work, which it doesn't, because it needs like a fucking truck battery to power it. But even if it did, like, you would burn through your ammo in like, you know, 5 seconds, and that's it. You're out.
Well, on that on that note, I don't know if you've seen this, but there's a gentleman, I believe he's in Finland, who started a Kickstarter making a foam Nerf blaster version of it. He calls it the mother of all blasters. And
I've seen it advertised on social media. Yeah, I
backed the shit out of it. So the campaign just closed. So as soon as I get the files, I'm going to be building that thing. And I'm gonna have my, you know, rapid fire multi-barrel minigun that's just gonna take 3 days to load and 30 seconds to unload, and the entire floor in here is just gonna be a mess, but it is gonna be so worth it because it's got the backpack and everything. And
did you ever watch a YouTube channel called FPS Russia? Back in the day, like, that was a gun tube channel, right? And he would just shoot all kinds of different weapons, you know, and like he would try out like explosive rounds, that sort of thing. But anyway, one of the videos he made was with a minigun, and he fired it at night time with tracer ammo. And not only did you get this insane, like, it looked like a lightsaber that was just like moving across the landscape, but you could see the barrels glowing red hot after just like a few seconds of firing, because it's that intense. Like,
exactly,
that's how insane that weapon is.
But the thing is, like I'm glad that they did it. You know, you can have the suspension of disbelief there, because I think since Predator, you know, they put it in Terminator 2, and then in Soldier they did it, and then in other movies, because they set a precedent with it, right? And it's, I don't care how big you are. Yes, Jesse the Body is a big man, but that thing just knocks you on your ass immediately. Like, there's no way that you can hold that and stand upright. But it was still like, wow, we had never seen that before. And it made Schwarzenegger's rifle look weak in comparison.
Yeah, what's he got? Just like a assault rifle with a grenade launcher attached.
Yeah, your standard M4 with your standard underbarrel on it, and whatever.
I always like Billy's weapon. I've never seen it in any other movie before or since. Like an M4 with a shotgun attached under the barrel. I think they do exist for like door breaching and stuff, but I've never seen one in a movie apart from there. And I always thought like that was cool as fuck.
I don't know if I still have it, but I'd actually built one. I had built an M4 style rifle, and I put an underbarrel. I think they call it a latch key, or someone in the chat.
Here we go. Yeah, it's called the master key. Oh no,
master key. Thank you.
Yeah, chat's moving too fast. I can't get it.
It was, but yeah, it's exactly that, like an underbarrel Remington 870 kind of thing. That short range, boom, kind of thing. And yeah, it was very cool. Like, so props to the weapon department for coming up with that one. And then,
there's a question here as well. How would you rework that though? Otherwise, how would it work to reveal the Predator as an alien without that opening scene? So that's talking about the spaceship that comes in at the beginning. I would just, I think the audience could infer like this is not from this planet. When you see its technology and the shoulder cannon and the way it looks and stuff, it's like that's more than enough. But like if you really needed it, you could have a character. When they're debating what this thing is, like, I was clearly not a man because it's like hunting us in a different way. And like someone could say, oh, what the fuck do you think it is then? A space alien or some shit like that. Anything that you want to do, like just to drop in and lay the groundwork for then what you see later on. But the moment it takes that fucking mask off, you're clearly going to know this did not come from planet Earth right now. But yeah, it's like, look at Tremors. Look at the Tremors movie, right? They never like try to explain where the graboids come from. They don't need to. Like, it's fine. Like, we just get like they're this monster thing that suddenly showed up. That's good enough.
Exactly. Well, to quote Carl Weathers there, you saying Blaine and Hawkins were killed by a fucking lizard?
Yeah.
Bullshit sight job.
There's 2 or 3 guys out there at most.
Fucking lizard. But you had pointed this out when you did your Predator video talking about it, about how what's her name? Why is it drawing a name? When they're sitting in the bushes waiting, and she tells the ghost story, the scary story of like, we begin to find our men sometimes without our skin. So that was a little bit of exposition that could cover up for like if you didn't have the opening sequence, like that would give a little bit of backstory as to this has happened before. We don't know what happened, and so she's familiar with it, and that's a little bit of fourth.
Well, yeah, because she's got the kind of she's got the superstitious approach where it's like, oh, it's a demon.
Yeah.
Kind of like King Willie from Predator 2. You
Absolutely.
can't see the eyes of the demon till him come calling. But yeah, and like these guys, like being more rational people, they're going to try and find another explanation, and it's like, well, they're going to arrive at Space Alien eventually, obviously.
And and dry shaving with a razor, and he nicks himself, and that was a cool little scene to show vulnerability, and I'm nervous as hell, and I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Well, it's because like you see him do it early on in the chopper, and he's like, he's fine. Yeah, that's how men in the 80s shaved, just dry shaving.
That's right.
Your own sweat.
That's right.
And then when he's doing it again later on, it's like you can see his more unhinged mental state because he's like fucking so like
exactly
set on revenge with this thing. He snaps the razor.
But to use that as an exposition point, as the audience, that's all we needed to know. Like, that was all the communication the movie had to make to us to let us know that he was like nervous, scared, apprehensive. He's trying to do something familiar to calm himself down. We didn't need another voiceover saying, and then Mac was in the bushes and he felt overwhelmed and we didn't know what we're going to do next.
Or you'd get himself, like giving you verbal diarrhea of like, I'm freaking out, man. I'm not ready for this.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I didn't see the Running Man remake because no thanks. But after your video, I was like, I believe you in what you were saying, that Ben Richards, the character, giving all of this either through dialogue or voiceover, spoon feeding everything. Like, why is that a thing? Like, that is genuinely what I would like to know. Why is that a thing in modern movies? We didn't.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I think it is. It's because it's designed for when it goes on to streaming, and they know that whoever's watching it is probably not going to be paying attention. They're going to be on their phone or whatever, and this will just be second screen viewing for them. And so they need to keep reminding them of what's going on and what the characters' motivations are, because they're not really watching the movie. That's what I think they're designed for now. Just got to keep presuming that your audience are retards who are giving you like 20% of their attention.
Okay, well, that's the main question that I wanted, for the major question I wanted to ask. And like, I'm not being facetious in regards to this. This is a genuine question that I have, and anyone, please feel free to answer this. But modern movies, why do modern movies suck as per your videos? Is it because the audience is genuinely stupid, or is it because Hollywood keeps on making movies treating them like they're stupid? Thank you. Did IQs just drop shortly while I was
exactly that quote in there?
Thank you. Cheers to you, sir. But it's like, you watch these movies. Like when I watched Romulus, I was totally stunned. I sat there in total disbelief. This is the dumbest thing I have ever seen. And I love aliens so much. Like that is so part of like, my inspiration kind of thing, that this movie was so beyond terrible that I was shocked to my core. And the people beside me were like clapping when the recycled dialogue was used. Like, I prefer the term artificial person myself. What? Are you kidding me? You're recycling the lines, and the people beside me were loving it. And I was like, are you genuinely dumb? Or
I think what it is, I think a lot of audiences have just been beaten into submission. Okay. I think over like more than a decade of this crap, I think they've almost given up, and now it's become like this generational process where they've been conditioned. It's conditioning, yeah. They've been conditioned to expect movies to be retarded, and it by extension, it kind of makes them retarded just through osmosis of just ingesting this constant diet of, shit movies, dumb scripts, like idiotic characters. Everyone acts like a 12-year-old that's like had too much Red Bull. And that's the thing, because the shit stuff that's being produced now eventually outweighs the stuff that you remember from like when you were younger, because it's not like they're constantly re-showing Predator or Alien or like any of these franchise starters like that were much smarter than what they have now. You have to seek them out generally. And if you don't, then you're just getting constantly exposed to this diet of like retarded movie making now. And I think it just breaks people down mentally to the point where they're just like, they don't expect anything. Like their expectations are through the floor.
Okay. And that's fair. I think the epiphany that I had watching Badlands was, you know what? Back in the day, we had a diss that us kids would say to each other. It was, you had to be there. Yeah, cool.
Scotland beat Denmark. Yeah, fuck you, Denmark. We won a game. Yes.
Is that football?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, like in the 80s, we used to like diss each other in the schoolyard, saying you had to be there, and it was a way that we'd make each other feel bad, for missing out on something. And like I see it on my X feed all the time. People are posting, do you remember this movie? Can you name characters from this movie? Or people would be showing like scenes from a shopping mall or 1980s high school. And was it really like this? Yeah, it really was. And you just had to be there. I can't explain it to you. And if you're of the generation now where all of this seems completely anachronistic or foreign to you, hey, fine. That's generation stuff. Like, I'm not going to relate to someone born in the 1920s. But I don't expect anyone from, who was born after the millennium to really understand what it is that I enjoy. So it's a generational thing for sure.
Well, this is what I've had to do. Like, there's been other YouTubers that I've had on open bar and stuff, and like they're very much the younger generation who probably were born like after the millennium. And then when I found out like some of them hadn't watched like Terminator 2 or Aliens or Predator or whatever, it was like, right, get the fuck out of here. Stop doing whatever it is you do on a daily basis. Go watch all of these movies and then report back. And then I heard back from him. He's like, yeah, they're fucking amazing. Like, why have I never seen them before? Like, I don't know, but like, you're not the problem. Like, your entire generation is just not being exposed to this stuff. And so you don't know what to expect from movies.
Exactly.
Your expectations are super fucking low because you've never known anything better.
You've never seen anything good, yeah.
And that's the sad thing, because the longer this goes on, the more our generation are just going to fucking die off or whatever. And like, there won't even be anyone to point them to this better stuff that was made, you know,
and that's
a couple of
fine.
decades before they were born.
That's fine. What are you going to do? Like, I kind of gave up, like, when I went to go to an auto body shop and I was wearing the replica shirt that Frost wears from in Aliens, you know, peace through superior firepower, and it's got it's got the schematic of the pulse rifle on it. And the guy looks at me and he says, "Wow, that's a cool looking gun. Is that from a game or something?" And like, my eyebrow raised, and I'm like, excuse me? Yeah, like, is that from Doom or something? And I was like,
fuck's sake.
You're honestly asking, like, you genuinely don't know what this is. And so I was like, okay, you know what? It's not his fault. He's obviously younger than I am, and enough time has passed that, okay, so you didn't see Aliens in the theater. Fine. Yes, it's from a video game or from a movie called Aliens. Really? Oh, I've never seen it. Okay, well, when you're done your shift, go home, watch it. I guarantee you'll enjoy it. But yeah, like, you have to kind of understand that there is an entire generation that has no idea what classic, like the awesome movies from the 80s are. Like,
we should.
What about Dead Poet Society? Has anyone from this current generation seen Dead Poet Society? If not, drop what you're doing and go see that movie.
Yeah. Someone was asking me there, has Drinker seen Gone with the Wind? Yes, I have. It's been a good few years. Fuck me, yeah. Set aside an entire afternoon for that one, but epic movie, obviously. Haven't seen Phantom of the Opera, though, interestingly. I need to get around to that.
And those are timeless. And as a writer, like, you would definitely understand and appreciate good storytelling. And both of those are stories that are timeless. And so that's why, like, there's no generation attached to them. Like, all generations can and should appreciate those for what they are.
I should actually ask you about Aliens because, Alien 1 and 2, because obviously we've had Alien Romulus just recently, and we've had Alien Earth, and we are told that the Alien franchise has never been healthier. It's doing great because they are putting out so much slop, we just don't know what to do with ourselves. But man, again, to go back to the point we made earlier, we had it really good growing up. Like, to have watched the first Alien movie, to have gotten this incredible horror movie set in space, doing things that, like, you'd never seen done in a sci-fi movie before.
And never been done again. Like, the tension and the genuine tension and terror that Ridley Scott had with just the editing and everything. So many movies have tried to copy and emulate, and they've all failed because you cannot replicate the claustrophobia, the terror, the unknown of Alien.
Yeah,
like, that
you'll never get the surprise factor, but like, I guess the point I'm making is, like, people were so used to sci-fi up until that point being very like either like epic space adventure, like something like
well, this was
Star
2
Wars.
years after Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
or like the goofy kind of low budget stuff like Doctor Who, or like Star Trek, which was very like intellectualized and high-minded, and this was something completely different. It was dirty, it was grungy, like the technology looked very like practical and usable. And you've got this like horrifying existential terror in the form of the xenomorph, something that was genuinely didn't look like a guy in a rubber suit. Obviously superbly shot by Ridley Scott, because that was when he was actually good at making movies. And he knew that less is more when it comes to showing this thing. Worked around the limitations, I guess, of the filmmaking technology at the time, but you would never know. Like, Alien has never dated. You could watch that now and think, this still looks fucking brilliant.
Absolutely. And a lot of it because of practical effects.
Yes, exactly. And going back to the point you made about like the dumbing down of the cinema experience, this was a horror movie that actually gave you pretty smart characters for the most part, making logical, rational decisions and doing the best they could to combat this thing based on what they knew.
Exactly.
And it still got the better of them. And I think all of those things combined together, you've got like one of the greatest horror movies of all time.
And it's
packaged up in a
interesting.
sci-fi setting.
I don't know if you ever watched the DVD and listened to the actor's commentary or whatever, along with Alien. One thing that stuck out that just made me roll my eyes is when they were discussing just the alien itself in that movie. They discussed the concept of, well, has anyone tried communicating with it? Maybe that's why they lost their lives. Maybe they should have tried communicating with it first. And I'm just like, no, why would you try to do that? Why would you try to communicate this with this thing? This organism, whatever it was and wherever it came from, was hostile from the very get-go. Yeah. It was not looking to make friends. So why would you, as the crew who's in danger, well, maybe we should like have it over for some food. Like
that
would be lonely or misunderstood.
Well, Star Trek did that very effectively with the Borg, right? That first episode where they encounter the Borg, because they try to do the normal Star Trek thing, where it's like we're gonna try and reason with these things, we're gonna try and communicate with them, and it's only by the end of that episode that they realize these are not things that you can negotiate with. Like all of the stuff that you've learned as Starfleet officers up until this point is null and void with the Borg, because they exist purely to consume and multiply and spread until they dominate everything, and you can't negotiate with that.
Same you can't rationalize, and
same with the Terminator. You can't talk the Terminator out of its mission. It's just going to keep going until it's either destroyed or its target is.
You can't bargain with it. You can't reason with it. It absolutely will not stop ever.
Yeah. And there's something kind of unnerving about that when you realize that your opponent or your enemy, there's no reasoning with them.
Exactly.
There's no like negotiating with them. They will either destroy you or you have to destroy them. And that's all that you have.
And that's
the xenomorphs are perfect. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And what I personally love about it is James Cameron, like in Aliens, we got a little bit of expanded lore, of where they came from. Okay, well, he took it upon himself to write in the Queen, and it's like a bee hive. You know what I mean? But that was it. We didn't need any more than that. That gave us a little bit more insight into the xenomorph life cycle kind of thing. But we didn't need to know where they came from, what was the origin of the ship, what is their family life like? Do the workers have a marital strife? Do they have children that they have to say goodbye to? Like, we don't need any of that.
Yeah, we'll take it to the next step, which is what you got in Alien Earth, where these things are actually just victims of corporate America. And like, you can actually turn a xenomorph into a pet. Like, they can be loyal to you if you just treat them kindly.
Of course.
What a horrifying thing to do to the xenomorph and to the whole concept of them, because you take away any kind of agency that they have, and you take away the terror factor of them. Now they just become a goofy, companion, like a goofy sidekick with the main character. And I just thought, that's like the last step in destroying the franchise when you're doing that, because, like you say, the xenomorph in the first Alien movie, a genuine, like, great horror monster. Take it to the next level. There's way more of them in Aliens. The humans are better armed, but like, they're still outnumbered by these things, and they're still terrifying in that way because of sheer weight of numbers. And
but there's an intelligence factor as well that makes them so frightening. Because like in the first one, in Alien, like the genuine jump scare of when Ripley thinks that she's safe, she thinks she blew it up. Well, it was hiding in the ship. How did it know to do that? Well, that shows some form of problem-solving skill on the part of the xenomorph. And you're like, okay, now the frightening factor just went up a level, because these things can think or reason or figure out their environment. Oh, that's cool stuff.
There's a good point there as well. There's such an overload of media with the internet and streaming that you don't have time to look back at old movies, because there's always new bad stuff coming out every week. That is kind of true, actually. Like, certainly when I was a kid, I was growing up in the early 90s, we didn't have the internet. It didn't exist in the form we know it today. And we didn't have like a million TV channels. We didn't have streaming or anything. And there was a lot less media to choose from. So you tended to pick out the things that you really enjoyed and hyper fixate on them. But you appreciated them a lot more, and you had time to appreciate them. That, I think, is the difference.
And you had to wait agonizing months for it to come out on VHS so that you could rent it and watch it at a sleepover party.
Yeah,
it wasn't instantly streaming like within 24 hours or something.
Well, and yeah, like, I do have to say, like, I have to give a big shout out to Aliens just for being one of the most genuinely entertaining movies of the decade.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and like, well, I think the example that we often cite is a character like Ripley. They're so big on like strong female representation in movies now. They nailed it with characters like her, because it's like you had someone who was smart, resourceful, who was the voice of reason a lot of the time when the Marines are going into the reactor. She's like, hey, wait, that looks like you're kind of right under like the reactor, and if you start firing in there, you're gonna kill us all. Just making sensible deductions, but is also like this great, gradually comes out as this really strong leader in the course of the movie. She makes smart decisions under pressure, but she's not a complete bitch to everyone that she deals with, and she's not overpowered. And it's like, well, that's how you do it. Great.
Just the one scene, like I could pick so many, but just the one scene with Hudson, she goes, Hudson, just deal with it because we need you and I'm sick of your bullshit.
Yeah.
Now get on a terminal and come up with some kind of floor plan. The way that she says those lines is not like, geez, Hudson, just get over it. Like, it's not overly snarky. It's very pragmatic and very like, here's what we need to do. And she's calling him out for his bullshit. I'm stated the badass art. Like that was a really great interplay between the two of them there. Yeah. And he does what she says. Okay, I'm on it. Hudson, just relax. But then later on, she and Hicks, when they're having their interaction, there's that moment of vulnerability. Like, Hicks, I'm not going to end up like the others. You'll take care of it, won't you? Like, so she has vulnerability. Like, she doesn't think like, oh, well, I'm just going to save all of you because I'm just Brie Larson. That's what made her character so compelling and believable.
Yeah. Well, she understood, like, she still needed Hudson to help out. Like, he's still a resource that the team can use. And it's like, well, what does he need to hear right now to talk him down? Because he's obviously like freaking out. And it is just like that verbal slap across the face. Like, no, get your shit together. We need you. You're still useful. You just got to like get your head back in the game. And
just
it works. Yeah, it works for him.
Yeah.
Same within like the first Alien movie, like that really interesting scene where Dallas has been killed, and so Ripley is next in the chain of command, but like everyone's arguing with her. Parker's arguing with her, and he doesn't really like want to follow her. And the camera's on. Well, what's interesting, because films don't normally do this, right? But like the camera's on her, static the whole time, while other people are arguing with her, and you just see her reactions. And then eventually gets to the point where she's like, "You listen to me, Parker. Shut up!"
Like, and he's in the background. Okay, let's hear it. Let's hear it. Like, yeah, you're exactly right.
It's super fucking real. It's like a real people would talk to each other. And it just feels like you don't get that in films now. Like, they would never do a scene like that now. It'd be something like way more corny, or I don't know, like she would be like more of a girl boss immediately, and he would just defer to her. And it's like, no, this is how you actually like assert a bit of authority over people.
For sure.
So
yeah, brilliant character. I mean, it's like, and then Linda Hamilton, obviously, in Terminator. Like, we had plenty of great feminine characters who were both feminine, strong, capable, vulnerable when they needed to be. Yeah. The 80s movies had lots of that. They weren't all just disposable sex toys for the interlude scene, where Dolph Lundgren needs to blow off some steam kind of thing. There were, we had our fair share of those, but really,
like when they got it right. Yeah, I'm not going to pretend like every movie was like a paragon of like progressive fucking feminism or anything, but when they got it right, they really got it right. And like, it set the template to the point where it's not really been equaled. Now when people look back and it's like, well, what's examples of these like really well regarded female characters in movies like this? It's going to be characters like Sarah Connor and Ripley, because they've still somehow never managed to equal them. Certainly not in like an action movie sort of blockbuster context. And that's Conan's girlfriend Yeah, she was good. Valeria in Conan the Barbarian. That they were lucky there because they got an actress who was actually pretty good. She was about 6 feet tall, so she's a good physical match for Arnold. And she carried.
What was the name of the blonde girl that he was protecting in that movie? I always had a crush on her.
So you're thinking of Conan the Destroyer.
Is that what it is? Okay.
I don't remember the character's name, but I know the actress you're thinking of. Hold on. I will tell you. I can get that information up.
She had a bodyguard or something named Bombata or something, right?
Yeah, that was Will Chamberlain.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, so that was Sarah. No, was it Sarah Douglas? No, it wasn't her. Where the fuck is she? Oh, yeah. Princess Jenna.
Okay.
And the actress's name is Olivia Dabo.
Ah, yes. Olivia Dabo. Yeah, she was in The Living Daylights.
Yes, she was.
As a Bond girl. Yep.
I should have just asked chat, actually. They would have got us there pretty quickly. Never mind. But yeah, that's Valeria was like a good character in Conan the Barbarian. She was a good match for Conan.
Okay.
And yeah, I think the actress actually worked her ass off doing sword training and stuff alongside Arnold. Like, she wanted to be as confident with a sword as he was, so she could at least like look good doing the fight scenes.
Boy, it's been ages since I've seen those ones.
I think she did them all herself as well, because they couldn't find a stunt woman who was like 6 foot tall who was going to match up with her, and so she just ended up doing all of it, and she actually got injured a few times because of it, which is, yeah, you got to respect that.
Yeah, well, that's what happens. I mean, you suffer for your art in order to make a believable performance.
Yeah, I do. Let me do a few more super chats, because I'm falling behind with this shit. Yeah, OMG puppies. Across the gulf of space, intellects vast and cool and unsympathetic regard this Earth with envious eyes and slowly and surely draw their plans against us. That's a great quote. I love that one.
What's that from?
I don't off the top of my head. It sounds familiar, but I cannot place it.
Like, I feel bad that I'm stumped.
Yeah. Again, chat, help us out here. Adrian says, Total Recall, Conan the Barbarian, and The Running Man, all redone and ungood. They are ungooded. Last couple of Terminators were horrible. Agreed. Predator franchise is questionable. Extremely. It's unreal at the movies Arnold carried with his star power and charisma.
For sure.
He definitely helped them out. And The Running Man's a good example, actually, because I like Glenn Powell as an actor, and I think he is quite a charismatic guy. But he was lost in that one, whereas Arnold was just completely at home in his version. Which you haven't seen the remake of Running Man, have you?
No.
Okay.
Usually, just what happens?
Keep it that way.
No, I'll fully admit, like, you can call me a fanboy, but usually what happens is if there's a new movie that's coming out, I usually wait for the drinker review first, and then I'll just like watch that and be like, "Yep, that's what I thought." And I don't think I've ever disagreed with a single one yet. So you say
there must have been some bad call I've made. Jesus, it happens.
Not that I recall, but it's like I have to give you a vote of thanks because you've saved me a lot of money. Because it's like, well, okay, I'm not going to the theater to watch that one.
That is the one thing I can at least feel good about. Is like, if I've saved people, because taking your family to the movies, that could be like $100 or more.
Oh yeah.
Now, if you want to go see it in IMAX, and if I can save people that from avoiding watching a shit movie, well, I've done something right at least. I would love to be able to recommend great movies. Hey, like this one, fucking brilliant. Go see it as soon as you can. It just doesn't come up very often, sadly.
Well, we've got our fingers crossed for the Sisu sequel that's coming out later this month, because we love the hell out of the first one. That is like a good, grab some popcorn, sit back, and enjoy the shit out of that one. So I really hope that the second is more of the same. So we're looking forward to that.
They have a nice, simple formula with those movies. Just give us more of what we enjoy.
They were brutal. It was nasty, where you can't help but to like giggle of like, I can't believe they just did that. But that was awesome. Like you're in the middle of taking a drink and you're like, you spit your Coke out because like, whoa, wow, he just threw a mine through the smoke and it hit the guy and boom, body parts everywhere.
Yeah, it was a good fun movie. I want to see more of that. particularly because the main character as well is like this fucking 60-year-old dude who's
Yeah,
like jacked as fuck. He just doesn't
exactly.
care.
Yeah,
Just refuses to die because he's that fucking hard.
I eat pain for breakfast.
Did you like Killer of Killers? No, I fucking didn't. I did a really terrible review on it as well, in fact. Yeah, that movie was dog shit. It was a girl boss extravaganza, just in case you were curious.
No, it's another one of those franchises where I just decided, okay, you know what? They're going to keep churning these out because they want to make money. I understand that. It's, you know, the studio wants to make money, but I'm going to draw my line at where movies end for me and be content with that. Like I can watch Alien and Aliens over and over again to my heart's content. Same thing with Predator 1 and 2. Same thing with the John Wick franchise. I will stop after 2 and that's it. And the rest of it, forget. And I don't have to spend the hours of my day like getting upset over those later ones. I'll just enjoy the ones that I liked and leave the rest for anyone who did find them entertaining.
I think that's the best attitude to have. It honestly is.
Those people are obviously wrong if they think they're good, but hey, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Terence Sheehan says, I always thought Elpidia Carrillo, Anna from Predator, should make an appearance. She could bring continuity to all the movies. Yeah. Weirdly, the last time I saw her in anything was Blue Beetle, of all things. She was like the main character's mum, because, you know, she's kind of old now. But I recognized her. She hasn't changed that much that you wouldn't recognize her, which is kind of neat. It was nice to see her still doing stuff. But she did appear in like archive footage in Predator 2, and I think they recorded that like separately. You know, it wasn't in the original movie. They recorded it and so that they could put it into Predator 2. But it's like, why not bring her in? I'd like to see what that character does. You know?
But to the credit of the directors and the writers of the second one, I personally enjoyed the fact that the way Predator 2 starts, you know, you get the shot of the jungle. So you're like, oh, this is familiar territory. And then it pans up and it's Los Angeles, 1997. Ooh.
It's a good fake out, yeah.
Yeah, that's the word, fake out kind of. And then it takes the movie kind of in a totally different direction with a whole new set of characters. And the only reference you get to the first movie is when Gary Busey is like saying, a few years ago, one of his kind, stalked and eliminated, kind of thing. And there's the tie-in. I think if you would have brought her in, it might have been too much exposition. Like we didn't need it, really.
Probably not, no. I think maybe if you'd done a hypothetical third movie where you got Arnold back, like maybe you could have done something with her as well. I don't know. Like it would have just been nice to see her just for old time's sake and to tie it in a little bit more. I know like they originally wanted Arnold back for Predator 2, but like he wasn't willing to do it. And so that's why they went up for a completely different storyline ultimately.
Which is fine. I think Danny Glover did a great job with the role. And
I would have loved to see Arnold pair up with James Cameron to do a Predator movie. I'd have loved to see what like Cameron could have done with the Predator franchise.
Well, here's a point. I don't think we've mentioned this yet, and like you touched on this in your Running Man video. Why were these movies so good? It's because the directors were passionate about what it was that they were directing. Like, if you watch the behind the scenes footage for Predator 2, like this director, he loved the IP. He was very passionate to work on it. And so it came through in the final product. James Cameron his head almost exploded when they presented him with the option to do Aliens, right? Yeah. Like he was trying to keep it subdued of like, yeah, okay, I'll work on it. But inside he's screaming because he's so excited. And it comes through in the film. You look at something like Running Man and you're saying, what happened? This director, he did Shaun of the Dead. Like, did someone just back up a big dump truck of money and said, you, director, make this movie and make it like this? And he's like, I don't care. Sure. I don't really care one way or another, but as long as the check clears, whatever. And he doesn't care about the IP. Is that what happened? Or was he just ambivalent? Whatever. A job's a job.
I mean, Mauler and I have been going over this, like trying to puzzle it out because we're both big fans of Edgar Wright when he was peak Edgar Wright, like, you know, doing the Cornetto trilogy and stuff. Like he did Baby Driver. That was a bit kind of forgettable. Just didn't seem like he was bringing his strength to it. Then he did Last Night in Soho. That was a weird, like kind of psychological horror thriller type thing. Again, just felt like he wasn't really playing to his strengths, and it's like I'm not sure what he was going for with that. But it's like, okay, you're on shaky ground here, son. What are you going to do next? And then the Running Man. It's like, wow, okay, he could bring a lot of like energy and like inventive like editing and camera work and stuff to this, like really snappy dialogue if he wants to play it that way. There's fertile ground for that, and then you get that flabby, boring, slow-paced mess of a film, and it's like, what are you doing? Is it just, have you been swallowed up by the studio system? Like, did you get like way too many notes from the producers? Did you not even have creative control? I don't know. Whatever the problem is, though, like this guy, you know, he has a sort of niche that he can work in, and you try and take him out of that, and he's just lost. And I don't know what it is, but like he does not function within the American studio system.
But I think, you can definitely see that in the older movies where the directors or the, you know, the writing, the people that were, you know, really intimately involved. Well, you know the drill. I mean, you've made a movie and you care about the IP and you want to tell a good story and you're passionate about it and you want that passion to come out on the screen with your.
The problem is I didn't write a very good script for it, though.
No, you're being modest. But
first attempt.
But the thing is, like, you get it. Like you're passionate about it. This is your thing. This is your story that you want to tell, and you want to see it handled with the same amount of care and passion that you put into it. And so these modern movies, they just lack that. And that's why they become instantly forgettable, because you walk out of the theater, I don't remember what I just saw.
Well, yeah, I think probably Marvel was the biggest, culprit in all of this, because, they don't, certainly towards the end, they didn't so much hire directors, or as Gary said, they would cast them. And so they'd bring in like these indie directors that had done like 2 movies in their whole career, and suddenly put them in charge of like a $200 million superhero flick. I'd say, like, good luck, go at it, knowing that they couldn't do it and they didn't have the confidence to take on a project like that. But then they'd be amenable to the producers coming in, the studio coming in and giving them notes and just doing exactly what they want them to do. And so that's how they do it. Like, that's how you end up with that homogenous pipeline of sludge that you get out of companies like Marvel. But yeah, with something like The Running Man, I just had much higher hopes, because I knew that Edgar Wright as a director was capable of so much more.
Sure.
We just never saw it. But it did make me think, or it did make me realize, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie from back in '87 was actually not that bad. Like, it's a pretty entertaining flick.
I put that on a couple of weeks ago and just rewatching it. And it's like, how many times have I seen it? I don't know. Like, I could, recite the entire thing. But it's like, the commentary that it was making, it was, again, not as heavy-handed as Paul Verhoeven, but there was a culture narrative that they were trying to say.
Because, like, you lived through it more than I did, but like 1980s American television, I'm guessing, was quite sensationalized, and it was all about just like grabbing the ratings at any cost.
Yeah, exactly. American Gladiators, or reality TV, or Climbing for Dollars, or whatever. They satirized it.
Climbing for Dollars was amazing.
Exactly. We'll be back. And then the characters were over the top, and it was all. But also the narrative about the media is lying to you, how they manipulate. Yes. And it's one of those things where, and it's not just, distilled down to The Running Man. It's like Hollywood for years has been not so secretly telling you what the plan is, subversion, and then they put it into a fictional movie, so that when you go to the movie and you see it, you're like, that could never happen. It's in a movie. So you don't believe it when it actually happens in reality. So in The Running Man, you've got this bloodthirsty culture that wants to see people die, kind of thing. And they believe whatever CNN or whatever media outlet tells them. And like, that was very dark for the 80s when that movie came out, of like, holy shit.
They predicted a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
Which became much more prevalent now in the internet age, where we are able to call it out a lot more, like selective editing of like major news events to paint people in a more negative light. Can't imagine any news network today doing stuff like that. Fucking BBC.
Well, speaking of which, maybe you can answer this for me, because I'll admit I'm rather dumb. But the footage of Ben Richards in the helicopter, the infamous footage that they show of the butcher of Bakersfield, when they first do the scene, we're getting the fourth wall camera as the audience, to see him interacting, talking, bullshit, I'm not going to fire on innocent civilians. Well, when she finds the edited footage, who was filming that? Like, why was it in third person?
I think you can. You're meant to assume that like there's multiple cameras set up all throughout the chopper, and like it somehow edits together into like a film. Because what you would really see if there was anything would be like a dash cam,
exactly,
at everyone, and it would look very uncinematic. But like they did that for convenience, 100% in the case of the movie. But I get what you're saying. Like it would never be recorded like that normally.
Well, then I'll put that in the don't know folder.
Yeah, just don't think about it too much. But they also predicted deep fakes, because there's the bit where like they need to convince the audience that Ben Richards has actually been killed and defeated by Captain America, or no, what's his name?
Captain Freedom.
Captain Freedom, yeah.
Are you ready for pain?
Yeah, and so they just digitally map their faces onto actors, and like they predict, they even explain how it's all done, and it's like, holy fuck, you guys predicted deep fakes like 30 years before they were even a thing, and there they are.
And what makes it even darker is the fact that it wasn't all AI generated. They actually killed some real people for their footage so that they could put faces on them. So it's like they needed some throwaway humans in order to create their fake footage. And it's just like, wow, that was dark. So human life means nothing to these people. Just get us some flukes,
But the fundamental theme of all of it is like it's bread and circuses to keep the masses distracted from, like the real problems that they have. And because if they ever did realize like they're being lied to and like this is all bullshit, like they would rise up and like overthrow this
would they though
network.
That's where my cynicism comes in,
Well, it was the 80s. There was a more optimistic time because they were all about like freedom and all these crazy ideas that we've given away now. But yeah, like the movie encapsulates all that stuff. Quite forward thinking in a lot of ways. But ties it up into like a standard Arnold Schwarzenegger action thriller.
For sure.
Back in the day, you could see the characters as certainly being quite goofy, the gladiators, but like it's a game show. That's the setting of it, so it makes sense in context. And you end up with this fun roller coaster of a movie that moves along at a fair clip. I think the whole thing's wrapped up in about 95 minutes, so it doesn't waste too much time. It never overstays its welcome.
And it's got so many quotable lines in it. Like I couldn't even pick my favorite, but I love it when he just grabs the monitor. Gillian, I live to make you eat that contract, but I hope you save room for my fist because I'm going to shove it into your stomach and break your goddamn spine. And it's like, that's the 80s right there. So that was awesome.
Yeah. Like when he's fighting Buzzsaw and he's like, I love this saw. This saw's a part of me. I'm going to make it part of you.
And then he gets, you get the dramatic upcut and then he gets, the falsetto voice. Yeah, that was awesome. Here's your Sub-Zero. Now, Plane Zero.
Casting a real life game show host to play Killian was just like, I can't remember the actor's name, but like, that was just an inspired touch because that guy will be known to people across America, and then suddenly he's playing this like fucking sinister character. It's great.
Again, that was a cultural thing. That was one of those things of the 80s. You had to be there. So it was like a nod to the audience of like, hey, recognize this guy? He's your beloved game show host, like you said. So we were able to just connect with it in that way.
Yeah.
I would love
and all of it ties together into just a movie that's like a fun 80s action romp with Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is exactly what you'd expect from his movies, like bit of action, like him like being big muscly dude who's like kind of wins the day and gets the girl at the end. But also it has quite a lot to say about like American media culture, the entertainment industry, like the gradual ramping up of more and more extreme pursuits of like higher ratings and the disinformation that keeps people like fighting each other instead of, addressing bigger issues. All of that wraps up in a fairly smart movie that, gets its message across, but does it without like hammering you over the head with it.
Well, they don't need to over-explain it, like you were saying about the remake. Like, for that reason alone, I don't want to see the remake. Like, I like, why do I always forget his name? Glenn Powell. Like, I
Yes.
like him. I thought he was fantastic in Maverick. Like, what a like, he was disgusting, but he played the role well. And then there's the movie that he plays opposite Sydney Sweeney, Anyone But You. That was actually a fun movie, and I thought he was very likable. So it makes me sad to think that he was in this remake and had to work with poor material.
Yeah,
To look with what he had.
he's kind of lost, like,
Yeah.
because he's most of the movie is him just reciting like
Mm.
really cheesy dialogue, like "I'll do anything for my wife and kid," like I'll
Really?
kill anyone who gets in my way. Yeah, just really spelling it out for the audience. And
Wow,
it's like,
I had no idea that this was what the movie was about. Why are you telling me this?
yeah, and it's like all that charisma and all that kind of like what you had with that character he played in Top Gun Maverick. It was like
Mhm.
Hangman.
Mhm.
That's like tailor made for him.
Mhm.
And you could have done something like that with him playing like a cocky, overconfident contestant or whatever.
Sure.
And like, you know,
And
but
so
like
in this remake, it's something that they could sign up for or volunteer for. Do I have that right?
yeah. So what you can do, because there's loads of different game shows and stuff, and like
Okay.
Running Man is the most dangerous and the most extreme, but you get the biggest prizes for it. So
Sure.
he signs up for it and he just wants to do one of the smaller ones initially, but like he's like super good at all the physical tests, and they're like, yeah, based on your like psychological profile, you're like really angry and anti-authoritarian. We're
Yeah.
going to put you in the Running Man.
Okay. Well, that okay. So I know that this is supposed to be based on a Stephen King novel. Which version is more true to that original narrative? Like, I don't care if you spoil it for me.
This one.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, this one's more true to it. But then, as I was saying when we did Open Bar, like not every novel can be adapted to the screen as is. You know,
Okay.
there's things that work in novels that do not work in films, and you have to know
Okay.
the difference. That's why, you know, the example I gave was like The Shining. Okay,
Okay.
The Stephen King novel,
Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick massively changed it to do
Okay.
his horror movie. Stephen King was butthurt about that for like a decade or more.
Really?
Eventually did like a TV movie version that's way closer to his book, and it's a
Okay.
fucking nightmare of a film. It's awful.
Okay.
So you have to know when to like change it to suit the media. And like
Okay.
the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie is a perfect example. I think that probably did the best job you could of taking a pretty like long-winded concept and just like distilling it down to something much more immediate and much more accessible.
Okay.
Because the biggest problem with the new movie is like it's set over a month, right? When
Right.
you go on the run in the Running Man, you're not in an arena where you're getting chased by gladiators or anything. You're just turned
Right.
loose in America. Like you just walk down the street or whatever,
Okay.
and you've got to survive for 30 days. And you've got to send a tape in once per day to prove that you're still alive and
Sure.
you know, say something, whatever. And anyone can come after you. So like if someone recognizes you in the street, they could either report you or they could just kill you themselves. They won't get arrested for it or anything, and they'll get like prize money for doing it.
Really?
Yeah.
That seems a lot less perilous.
I mean, it's an interesting concept, but then it's never used. Like, it's not like he gets recognized loads in the street or anything. And then he only goes on the run for like maybe 14 days or something. So he never even makes it to the month anyway. And there's just loads of dead air in between. Like, there's times when he just goes off on a side quest or whatever and just meets up with some random people. And like the pace just dies as a result. There's no urgency to any of it.
Well, I think I saw, I don't know, I think you had posted on X about it, and someone had made a comment of that they really enjoyed it or something. They really enjoyed the Running Man remake, and their opinion was that Hollywood needs to continue remaking the good movies and stop doing the bad ones, something like that, something to that effect. And it's like, so he's inferring that the original Running Man was a bad movie. What?
Yeah. And it's the exact opposite of common sense. Like,
yeah,
the only case where I could justify doing a remake is like a movie that was originally like a great concept, but they either didn't have the technology at the time to fully realize it, or just like the script was terrible or whatever. But like the idea is great. And like, okay, fine, let's have another bash at that because there's more mileage in it. But like taking a movie that's really well regarded and remaking that, like say Ghostbusters. right? Good luck fucking topping that in terms of entertainment value and comedy and all the rest of it. But they
Yeah.
fucking tried 10 years ago, and look how that one turned out.
Well, I'll give you one better, or the same. They already broke my brain and my heart with the Robocop remake, like because I loved that movie. Like that was part of my formative years. But if and when they decide to redo Back to the Future, that's it.
Yeah, we're done.
I think I'm just going to have to check into an institution at that point because it's like, do not touch this movie.
Yeah.
Just don't.
I think Robert Zemeckis has got like some kind of contract.
I hope so.
It can't be remade.
I really do. So, and I hope Cameron, even though he's kind of changed his tune over the years about weapons and violence and all that jazz, I hope that he's got exclusive rights. Do not touch Aliens ever.
They won't remake that. I mean, with the Alien franchise, they're just churning out more sequels and prequels and midquels and God knows what else.
And that's fine. You can go ahead and do that, but don't touch the original formula.
Yeah.
Because like those characters can't be recreated. Like I shudder to think who they would recast in all of those roles. Like Tessa Thompson as Vasquez or something. You know.
Hicks would be played by Pedro Pascal.
Oh, for God's sakes. Pedro, no, he would be the entire crew, everyone. He'd be Bishop, he'd be Hicks, he'd be Hudson, everyone.
Yeah. Vasquez would be Brie Larson or something, or Zendaya. Zendaya, actually. She's more flavor of the month. Yeah, it writes itself.
If you want to somehow stick Sydney Sweeney and Anna de Armas in it, then, you know, I'll let that slide.
Sure. I mean, we can do something there.
I can have a suspension of disbelief, you know. If you want to get Sydney Sweeney doing some pull-ups, you know, like and like flexing for the camera, okay.
Well, I mean, she got buff for that boxing movie she did, so she can obviously do it. You know, there's mileage to be had out of that, I would say. Let me read a few more super chats. Shan Wikram Singh says, Aliens and Predator effectively weren't age restricted in Australia in 86 and 87, so I didn't need to sneak preteen into the cinema when I went alone. Nice. How were they not age restricted? What? You Australians, man, you're a different breed. I don't know. Normie says, you know, if you ever get a sequel, the mommy Predator will be the biggest, bestest, and toughest Predator ever because girls rule, don't you know? 800% will, and I think there is lore behind that. Like with the Yautja, I'm pretty sure the females are bigger than the males and more dangerous. But
okay, that reminds me, because at the end of Badlands, isn't that what he says when the ship is approaching? And he says,
"Yeah, his mom's there."
Mother. And I was like, "Oh fuck, are you serious?"
Yeah,
I was already broken at that moment. Like I watched it because a friend of mine really enjoyed it, and like I love this guy, so. Okay, I'll watch it. You know, I won't just take Drinker's word for it. Like I know that Drinker's going to be right on this one, but I'll just watch it. And you were exactly right. Like the when he comes across what's her name?
Thea.
Thea, thank you.
Android lady.
She will not shut up. She starts yattering right from the yip, 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 yip. Don't do that. Don't step by that bush or this is going to happen. Are you kidding? Shut up. You know, unbelievable.
There's a gentleman who often comes on Open Bar called Little Platoon. I don't know if you've watched his channel, but he's done a superb review of Badlands where he talks about this. And he's like, that scene where Dick or Deck, I can't remember, we'll call him Dick. Dick, he's running through like the foliage and all these exploding plants are shooting like poison darts at him while the pterodactyl thing's hovering overhead. That's meant to be a tense, dangerous scene, but you can never get invested in it because this fucking bitch just will not stop talking throughout the whole thing. Like, oh, it's not looking too good for you there. Oh, you don't want to do that. Oh, that's pretty dangerous. He's going to come in and get you. Shut the fuck up. Like, imagine if that was happening all through the first Predator movie or something.
Seriously, you know what it reminded me of? Because I just I had a week off recently and I was just playing Borderlands 4 and really enjoying it because I love that franchise. But the moment Claptrap reappeared and just like I was like, where's the mute button? That's what she reminded me of. Where it's just like, I constantly have to be talking, otherwise I'm going to self-destruct. Oh.
I think that like being married.
I disagree.
Women be talking.
No, well, you know, you got to find the right woman. You know?
I mean, yeah, because like if you want to like fucking uphold stereotypes that women
Mhm.
just will not shut up. Like, well, great, you've done it with this movie. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not very progressive, but never mind.
But let's just look at the character for a second. Like when you look at Lance Henriksen's portrayal of the synthetic or artificial person, as he prefers to be called, this Thea, are we supposed to believe is of the same lineage kind of thing? Like Bishop would never act like this. When he was
what mission? Because like she's been entrusted with a pretty important mission.
Sure.
Like they have to go out and collect samples from this super dangerous planet.
right.
They should be all business, these things. Like, why is she cracking jokes? Why can't she stop talking?
They remedy that with her twin sister, who's been reprogrammed to be more badass by the book. Because as soon as her wounded sister gets reanimated on that table and mother is talking to her, we're very disappointed with you, blah, 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 blah. All she keeps on saying as soon as she's lit up is Thea, 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 Thea. It's like, oh my God, really? And then they had to reprogram her.
Yeah, it's like fucking loves her. I'll have a wonderful life. She loves action movies. Perfect.
Good for you, sir.
Yeah, and like she would have to know as well, like that attitude, like that way of just constantly talking and annoying him is actually counterproductive to her own survival and the success of her mission. Because it's like you piss off this predator too much, it will just shoulder cannon you into oblivion.
What she needed at that moment is they should have had a cameo from Bill Duke coming in. You're ghosting us, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You're who you are. You give away our position one more time, I'll bleed you right here and leave you. Got that?
Yeah.
That's what she needed.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, it's wild, man, what they did with that movie.
I think Prey in retrospect was an enjoyable movie. Like my wife and I, we watched it together at the same time, and like she's seen Predator or enough times to like understand the lore or the theme of it. And Prey definitely, like, they did more of that. Like the Predator was very more of that kind of mysterious character in the shadows kind of thing, and the way they developed it was fantastic. First he takes
they at least built it up as being somewhat dangerous, and like his reveal when he fucking fights the bear and just like covered in like holds it up in the air and like his blood. Yeah,
what an amazing scene. And like she's cowering in fear underneath the beaver dam kind of thing. What is happening? Because all she's seeing is this cloaked thing punching a bear, and the bear slugs in, but picks it up, and then the shower of blood. It was brutal and very, very Predator.
Yeah.
So
it was a good way to introduce it.
I mean, the Yautja didn't invite the bear to sit around a campfire and talk about, my brother and I, we were very close.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
I'm feeling quite insecure right now. Yeah. Normie says, if they get a sequel that the Mummy Predator will be the big... Oh, wait, I just did that one already. Sorry.
He got twice the money there. Cool.
Yeah. Johnny Dangerously, Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito, gangster parody with breaking of the fourth wall. Great movie.
What
I haven't seen that one, actually. I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen Johnny Dangerously?
No, not yet.
It is hard to come by in terms of like streaming or something, but okay, if you haven't seen it, then I won't ruin it for you. But the most pivotal character is help me out, chat. Roman something. He's the main antagonist, but the quotable lines in there, awesome stuff.
Next one is want some candy? Great,
fantastic,
brilliant.
And thank you, Snex, for mentioning that. I wanted to mention that before I forget. In Predator 2, okay, we already talked about it in Predator, the whole "you're one ugly motherfucker." Okay, iconic line. In Predator 2, they give a nod to that, but they add a little bit of a twist to it so that it's not simply just like a rehash of the familiar, like they did in Romulus, where get away from her, you bitch. And you're supposed to go, he said the line in the movie. You remember that? No, in Predator
that poor
2,
actor.
God damn. In Predator 2, Danny Glover is like, yo, one ugly. And then the Predator, like, jump scare, grabs him and says, motherfucker. And it's familiar enough that it's that line of dialogue is like, I remember when they said that in the first one. But the cool little twist that they added when the Predator says, motherfucker. Is he calling Danny Glover a motherfucker, or is he just simply completing the line because he somehow had a recording of it? I don't know. But it was
fun to ponder, though.
But it was a cool nod. That was a cool way that they did that in that movie, to give a nod to the first one without being a complete copy rehash like they did in Romulus. Like Romulus was so incredibly blatant. The 3 times that I can recall that they recycled the exact same line for the sake
they recycled the same lines, and like you've got deep faked Ian Holm in it as Ash, and it just makes you feel dirty. Like the degree of exploitation in that movie, and just like, hey, remember this? Remember pulse rifles? You know, remember these lines? It's just disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very, very zealous about the M41A. I mean, I have 3 of them now that I've made, so it's my favorite gun of all time. And I know the guy that made it for Romulus, and so I went to go see it because I wanted to see his work, and I thought it was a beautifully, crafted thing. He did his best on it, and I see what they were trying to do. But the whole scene where she's like, shooting them out of the air, like it didn't have any of the drama and the peril and the high stakes of when they have that final fight in the wherever it is, when they come through the ceiling, because you're on the edge of your seat, like you genuinely felt scared. And then when Hudson gets pulled through the floor, they were just standing at the end of the catwalk, and the guy's telling her, "Watch out, you're running out of ammo."
Well, and it's very obviously CGI what they were doing there. It's like
sure.
All that shootout sequence in Aliens was all practical. Like that because you probably saw it in the intro there. I put it in. I just love that sequence where they break down through the ceiling, crash to the floor, and then they're like, "There they go over there, get them
over there, get them!"
But then you see them like unload on this sequence, and they're hitting everything. Like they're shattering glass, they're blowing up worktops and stuff, and hitting aliens in the process.
Exactly.
And there's just shit flying everywhere. There's squibs going off everywhere. To choreograph that whole sequence must have been a tremendous piece of work to get it all
for sure.
like to line up. But it just looks gorgeous on screen because it's all real. It's all stuff that was actually happening.
And it's so chaotic, and the music swells, and you're just sitting there like on the edge of your seat because now you're really frightened. The aliens are in the room, and the music is dramatic, and you're like, what's going on? Who's doing what? Where are they going? And then you've got the brilliant redemption of Hudson, who just, he stands up he faces up to the task. He's no longer what are we going to do now, man? He's just like, die, motherfucker. And so many movies have tried to rip off that one scene. They tried to do it in Starship Troopers. Just like, oh, you want some of this? Come get some. Come get some. And it's just like, you know what? Lame. So props for trying, but
you'll never equal it. That's the
Bill Paxton. Problem. And I think it was you who pointed that out, or someone said Bill Paxton was screaming so many obscenities during that scene.
Yeah.
That when they came to do the re-recording, they couldn't remember exactly what he had said.
Yeah, because obviously when you're firing like live ammo, or at least it blanks or whatever, like the microphones are never going to pick up what you're saying, so all of that has to be ADR'd later. And like he was like, I was so pumped up, and I was just screaming whatever was in my head at the moment. I couldn't remember anything that I said, so they just had to guess. And you can tell, like there is a sequence where it's like what he's saying does not match up with the mouth movements of him. It doesn't matter. Like it's just it's kind of funny. I love the idea of Bill Paxton just getting so psyched up.
Exactly. And you believe it because that's the kind of guy he was. And he did the same thing in Predator 2. I would love to know how many of his lines did he kind of just Bill Paxton in, or was that actually written in the script? So
either way, I am happy with what he did. What's the next one? I miss movies, great movies for kids like The Sandlot and The Goonies. Good fun films with a good lesson to be learned by the end. Yeah, a lot of fun. I think the closest we've gotten in recent years was like that Skeleton Crew for Star Wars, where it's very much like the Goonies in space. And it did have like a nice sort of fairly like well-meaning message or whatever. But those movies back then, I don't know, man, they hit in a different way. And they really felt like they were geared towards children, obviously, and so families, I guess, would go and see them at the movie theaters. But like, they weren't patronizing, they weren't dumb, and adults could 100% enjoy them. Like, I can watch the Goonies now and get a lot of fun out of like all the traps and the action sequences.
Exactly.
And, you know, sloth and all that shit.
Hey, you guys.
Yeah, Babe Ruth.
How about another great one? Stand By Me.
Yes,
that is another timeless movie.
Yeah,
like,
a good coming of age movie.
Yeah, I remember just feeling broken at the end when the narrative or the narration explains what happens to them, you know, what happens to River Phoenix's character. And I was genuinely gutted because that movie made me care about each and every one of them, those characters.
Yeah.
Like the story, the struggles that they went through, and wow.
What was that movie? I'm sure it was River Phoenix that was in this one as well. Like, they build like a spaceship out of like leftover junk and stuff in their back, you know, in their garage or whatever, and then they have to like go on this mission to like save some alien things. Fuck.
Flight of the Navigator?
No, it wasn't Flight of the Navigator, although that was quite good. Fuck, I'm gonna Explorers. That was it.
Okay.
Sorry, with my extremely shit description of the movie, yeah, people still got it in chat. God, I need you guys more often in my life, honestly.
There you go. These are some people. These people have had a good education. That's all I can say.
Yeah, Explorers was good, man. I like that one. Pure gold having you both together again, talking about movies from the 80s and 90s. Muchas gracias. Thank you, man.
Well,
appreciate it. It's our pleasure. We don't even like, honestly, we would just happily do this even if we weren't online. So, you know, it's nice to have you guys join us for it. And check out the Italian ripoff of Predator, Robo War.
What?
That I need to see. I need to go into an alternate universe where we got the Jean-Claude Van Damme version of the Predator. I want to see that one day.
Okay. That actually just reminded me. There is a great plot synopsis of the Chinese DVD bootleg of Alien. You should look that up.
Right.
Yeah, the Chinese bootleg of Alien, and then they did a plot description in English, and it is the funniest thing ever. Like,
let's look that up.
Who is Bad Milk Robot? It's hilarious.
Predator Badlands. What kind of predator ties its dreads back into a ponytail? One that's got dreads on the top of its head, which predators are not supposed to have. But
right. And maybe I missed it because I was losing interest in this. Okay, so when in Badlands, his brother sends him off in the ship, and then the ship breaks apart, and he falls to the planet in his circular whatever
his ejector bike.
Okay,
because good luck ejecting into space, like when you're
right.
No coverage.
But all of his equipment, like all his kit, his mask, all of his armor was still on the ship, the main ship, right? That he was separated from.
Yeah.
Was he ever making an attempt to like beeline it there to get his stuff back, or did he just let the other robot just find the ship, find his shoulder cannon, which he automatically knows how to control, and he goes through the movie with only his Apple smartwatch and a wrist
I don't
blade?
think his plan extended beyond killing the Calisk. Like, he never really thought to himself, like, well, how am I going to get back to Yautja Prime where I need to like deliver this thing? Because like, as far as he knew, the ship crashed and blew up. Like, he didn't know it was intact until later.
Okay.
So yeah, the fucking wild how that was going to work. But yeah, I love the fact that he ejects in this escape pod and it's literally just a bike that he sits on.
Sure.
It's like, what if he had to eject into space?
Yeah. Huh?
Fucking dead then, I guess.
Wow. Don't know.
Yeah, I love this one. How long until we get a prequel about Jim Hopper? They were skinned alive. Someone will make that one day. Yeah, and Jim Hopper will actually be like a girl as well somehow.
You know what? And that's another example. That's actually a really profound comment. That ties into lore that happens in so many movies where they give a hint about what happened before, but that's all we get because it's enough to fill out the story a little bit more. But if you think about it, we don't really need to explore that because I think it would be giving away too much. They did the same. They did the same thing with John Wick. I love the first two. I thought they were fantastic. and the first one almost didn't make it to theaters because they were running out of money. It ended up doing so well that let's expand the story. Okay, and then it ended. In 3, they started adding so much more
Yeah.
that it ruined his mystique for me. They added all of I don't need it.
Take it to the Alien universe, right?
Mhm.
Like, look at the space jockey from the first Alien, right?
Yes.
You don't know anything about them, where they came
Yeah.
from or whatever. You just know it's this super advanced race, and even
Yep.
they were powerless to protect themselves from the fucking
Exactly.
xenomorph. Like, that's how terrifying it is. That's all you need.
Yep.
What you don't want is a fucking like entire sequence of movies all about them. Like, oh,
Yes.
well, they were actually engineers who went to planet Earth and created the
Sure.
human race for reasons, and then wanted to kill them for reasons.
Yeah.
No,
Just no. And like, isn't it implied that David or whatever he's called,
yeah, David.
uh, isn't it implied that he is ultimately the ones who created the xenomorphs because he was bioengineering? First, he takes the space penis from the first thing and like bioengineers and comes up with a series of generations, and then he's got it in his mouth at the end, and you're supposed to be like, ooh, he's like the genesis.
Even I don't think, if you asked Ridley Scott, like, what the fuck were you even trying to do with these movies? Where are you trying to take it? He wouldn't be able to answer you. He doesn't fucking know.
And it's one of those things.
He's very old and very tired now.
Well, you've ruined it. Like, I really don't want to know where the xenomorphs came from. It was frightening enough that they came across this weird donut ship. And then when he's descending down and you see all of these eggs, why are they in there? Where did they come from? Where's the origin? What was the origin of this ship? Did the aliens come from another planet? I don't care. I don't want to know. That's what makes it frightening.
Well, that's my point. Yeah, like, I don't want to know it. Like, your imagination can do way more work than any script writer, and it's the same. That's why some of the best monster movies don't show the monster until really like late in the story, because like your imagination fills in those blanks and creates something way more horrifying than what they can actually show.
It's
on screen.
always the unknown that is way more scary, and everyone's got a different imagination. So if you leave it up to the audience to kind of fill in the blanks in their own head, that's the stuff of nightmares.
Recently got Brawler and the boys on to watch Master and Commander. They struggled with it a bit, but I have faith that it'll help to raise their standards. Yeah, please just make them stick with it. Play it. Like, you've got to give me some kind of hope for this next generation, man. If they can't enjoy Master and Commander, we're fucked as a species. Radio Spec. Why do you think so many people have resigned themselves to tolerate the slop that we get today? It seems like so many people don't want to admit that they don't recognize the movies and shows they enjoy are garbage, and they get defensive about it. Cheers. Yeah, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. I think if you beat people down enough, like with enough slop, they just come to accept that as the norm. And particularly with like younger generations who haven't even experienced good stuff. Nobody wants to be lectured by like old guys who are like, oh, it was better in my day, because instinctively you're just like, no, fuck off, old man. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think it's an ego thing.
Yeah, and like then you've got as well like the ideologically driven people who are like, well, if it pushes the message, then I don't care if it's good or bad. And if it is objectively shit, that would force me to reckon with a whole bunch of uncomfortable truths about my like worldview that I don't even have the intellectual and emotional capacity to grapple with. So it's better for me to just get angry and dismiss you. So
and call you names.
Exactly. Heavy Metal, just the first one. The Maltese Falcon, Das Boot, A New Hope in the Theater 2001, Aliens 1 and 2, Wrath of Khan, and on and on. All superb movies.
And see, again, that is what you and I grew up with. That was what was coming in the theaters. And I hate to say that we took it for granted, but it was just so commonplace that those were the movies that were in the theater. Like, all you have to do is look at some of these nostalgia photos where someone takes a picture of like 1985's rural America, and here's what's playing at the cinema: Goodfellas, Robocop, Predator, all of these classics. And we're like, to us at the time, it was like, well, that's what's playing. What do you guys want to see? They're all good.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't become a classic until years later, because it's
until years later
context, you know. But
absolutely.
like at the time, like, yeah, as you say, we were kind of spoiled, and we just came to accept. Yeah, there was always going to be shit movies, but there was way more good ones, I think, than bad ones. And
exactly,
the balance has shifted so much; it's not even funny.
Like, we really didn't know at the time, like to us, it was like, oh, hey, this new movie's coming out. We go to the theater and we see it. Like I'll never forget going to the theater to go see Predator, and in the foyer of the theater was a cardboard cutout, life size, of Robocop, and that was my first introduction. I hadn't seen the trailer on TV or anything yet, but all of a sudden I was mesmerized. And one of the trailers before Predator was Robocop, and it was so awesome. I was almost distracted from Predator. All I could think of was this awesome cyborg movie, and it's coming soon, you know. And but that's the kind of fare that we had in those days. And you know, now it's so far and few between that you get that excited about what you see, because it's all just, there's no creativity. It's got no soul, no imagination.
Yeah, it's called slop content for a reason. I think that's the best way to describe it.
Like I try to wonder, like, am I being too harsh? But I mean, you're the voice of reason on this. When you do your reviews and why movies suck, it's like, yeah, like you concisely distill it down.
No, I think that's because that's what you try and do. Like, you want to try and apply that analytical approach to it, and like when you do that, like you get beyond just like, oh yeah, it was like cooler when I was a kid or whatever. You actually get into the point of, no, I can objectively prove that these movies were better constructed, better written, often better performed than what we get nowadays. The only shortcomings you might have if you're going back like 30, 40 years is like in the VFX department. Sure, I can 100% accept that a lot of movies can do things now that we couldn't do back in the 80s and 90s. That's just how technology moves on. But I don't think that's enough to satiate people. I don't think sheer spectacle alone is enough to like keep people engaged. That's why I made that video about the Avatar franchise. It's a perfect example. They're some of the best looking movies you'll ever see, just from a technical perspective, but nobody talks about them and nobody really remembers them because there's nothing there. It's like a bunch of like really forgettable characters going through a story arc that we've seen a million times before. It just happens to look really nice.
And like, I feel torn on that, because like from a creative point of view, if James Cameron, if this is how he wants to spend his money, because he's got all the money in the world and it's a passion project for him, okay, good for him. Like he's earned my respect in regards to being a filmmaker and storyteller. And it's nothing, Avatar is nothing but one big tech demo. Okay, that's fine. I won't go see it. I enjoyed the first one for the visual spectacle, but I don't need to see it 3 more times.
It's I don't know what to liken this to. It's like, say you have a Michelin starred chef, right, who's been working in some incredible restaurant in Paris or New York or wherever, and he's like, no, I'm too stifled here, I need to go off and do my own thing. And then like what he ends up making is like grilled cheese sandwiches or something, and it's like, this is the thing I'm super passionate about. And it's like, well, okay, I respect that. It's just like I expected something a little bit more complex from you,
but
or
maybe
advanced.
It's a really pretty grilled cheese sandwich.
Yeah, like, I'm just like, I when I think about the amazing films that Cameron's made, like Aliens, you know, like Terminator 1 and 2, and like, you know, even Titanic or The Abyss, like movies like where there's a lot of like skill on display.
Yeah.
What is it about this that just absolutely grips you, man? I just don't get it.
I think because too much time has lapsed between all of them. Like when Avatar came out, like I can understand the appeal, visually spectacular. Okay, maybe the story was a little tired, but still visually spectacular. He had all of these grand aspirations of making many. If they would have all been released like they did with Lord of the Rings, the entire, you know, all the trilogy was filmed all at once, and then they were released, you know, a few months or a year apart, kind of thing, in a short enough time frame that people still kind of remember it as one solid film. With this, you got Avatar, and then a decade later, you release the next one. Like, who were supposed to care, really? Like,
yeah, yeah. You're gonna struggle to convince me that it took 10 years to get the second movie made. Like, did you really have to like put that much work into the technology, which you kind of perfected in the first one?
Exactly.
I don't know. I guess. Like I say, I mean, I can't fault how good they look. It's just when there's nothing behind it.
There's people who love it. Like I think I read somewhere that there were people who were so emotionally attached to the first one that they formed like a cult, the Pandora cult or something like that.
People,
and, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, people were coming out of the theater apparently back in 2009, and like they were having like severe depression and like
Yeah, that it was
post-movie,
over.
post-movie like withdrawals or whatever,
Sure.
because it's like the real world is not like Pandora, and it's not like gorgeous and vibrant and colorful or whatever. And I just thought, really, that movie did that to you?
Wow.
Damn,
Okay.
man.
Well, good luck with your life, and I'm gonna go stand over here now.
Yeah. Yeah, Josh Brooks says, one movie that I watch frequently, one location, amazing dialogue throughout, thrown in from the start, build great arcs and tension without showing any violence, 12 Angry Men, almost
Mhm.
Tarantino-esque. Yeah, superb movie. Yeah, for anyone who's interested just in script writing in general and how to do a lot with very little resources, like
Mm.
12 Angry Men is like the benchmark for superb, tense movies.
Well, that actually
Brilliant stuff.
reminds me another great example of a great movie that should not be remade or have a sequel added to it. The Usual Suspects. I
Yeah.
haven't met anyone who didn't like that movie, and that movie was so spectacular that at the end of it, you as the audience are like, "Oh, I want more. I want." And then it's literally like they say, "Nope, sorry,
yeah.
that's the story we wanted to tell. That's all you get. Thank you for enjoying our movie, but we're not going to make a sequel because this was so popular. We don't want to do it. We don't want to ruin it." Great, and you're left with that, and so you will talk about the movie for ages afterwards because it was that good.
Well, that's the thing, like, because now you would have a whole extended universe of Usual Suspects. But even because that is a movie that's like entered into the cultural zeitgeist. Everyone remembers like Verbal Kin and like
Yes.
Kevin Spacey's performance, but like
Yep.
the limp at the end, and it
Mhm.
straightens out, and then he gets into the car and like off he goes. All that stuff, amazing. And
Wow.
like the movie didn't do big numbers at the box
No.
office. Like it did 67 million. So
Mhm.
it's not like a big hit,
Mhm.
right? But people know about it. People remember it. Nobody remembers anything that happens in something like Avatar, which made 100 times what that movie made. Isn't that
And
interesting? Isn't
like
that interesting?
I can't explain that, and it's one of those things of, listen, again, entertainment or what you like is highly subjective. What person A likes and finds amazing, person B will disagree with. Okay, let's just agree to disagree and move on.
Yeah. I did like that. The Usual Suspects.
Okay, I could see that happening. It's like what they did with Dumb and Dumber, Dumber and Dumberer or something.
Dumb and Dumberer, yeah.
I'm trying to remember. They made 2 sequels. There was Dumber and Dumberer, where they recast to play their younger selves, and didn't they make a one where it was Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels older, and
Yes, they
they
did.
reprised their roles?
I didn't watch it out of respect for the first one. I just couldn't bring myself to, and apparently it's dog shit. So
I just can't do it.
Yeah, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. If you've not
Mm.
seen that one, definitely give it a watch because that is superb. That was like Guy Ritchie's breakthrough role.
Was Jason
Great
Statham in that, or
he was?
No.
Yes,
he was? Okay.
Yeah, he was cast in that actually because he was selling shit at like a market in London, and Guy Ritchie I think just happened to spot him, and he's like, "This guy's like fucking perfect."
Okay.
I just cast him in the movie, and that was the beginning of the Statham.
I think he's still at the top of my man crush list next to Henry Cavill. And it breaks my heart to see like the movies that he's putting out now, like Working Man and Beekeeper. I'm like, Jason, you don't need the money, do you? Like, please don't do what Bruce Willis did, where you're doing all of these B movie direct to DVD things. Like,
I think Statham never quite hit the A list, and so like he doesn't have that cushion of like taking on, and he doesn't have the dramatic range, I think, to do more like serious roles, and so it's very much like just do the action movies.
Right, but it makes me sad because he is getting older. It's like, yeah, you're not quite as physically capable as you were when you first did The Transporter, and that's okay. We all get older, so maybe just kind of retire with grace.
I mean, maybe when the money stops, he'll probably stop. But like, I imagine he does it just because he enjoys it. It's for the love of the game and all that.
Okay, he's still a badass. I still like him.
Yeah. Exotic Player says everyone has to choose the best movie between Alien and Aliens, but I'm more interested to know which movie do you rate between Alien and The Thing? Whoa, that is an interesting comparison.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna chalk. That is like me asking you who's hotter, Sydney Sweeney or Anna de Armas. Go.
Sydney Sweeney.
Oh, all
I
right.
think that's actually quite an easy one for me, but I go on breast size. But with this one, I mean, I'll let you answer as well because I want to hear your take on it. I would say The Thing is far better when it comes to body horror, for sure. And in terms of the practical effects, like it's more impressive. But I think I would rather rewatch Alien. And I think Alien probably has more to say in terms of like its artistic merits about the whole cosmic horror thing and like um, the the commentary on like the corporate greed and like the sacrificing of innocent lives, that sort of thing. Even like the perversion of the reproductive cycle, where the first guy who gets impregnated by the alien is a man rather than a woman. All of that stuff turned on its head. Not to take anything away from The Thing, because I think it's a superb horror movie and I absolutely love it. But I suspect Alien is the slightly better movie. But I'll let you go. Well, I want to hear your take.
I'm really actually thinking about this because that's a really tough question because they both have merits that are like cannot be replicated. Alien, I think I would have to choose Alien simply because of the claustrophobic and unknown factor of it. The Thing was a little bit more in your face. Like the body horror was very, very unsettling. And I can't forgive it because they hurt doggies, or at least they implied that. So I don't do doggy wounding or anything like that. But it was a little bit too gratuitous in regards to being in your face. Like the shock and awe was fantastic. Okay, like kudos to them and the the physical horror of it. And Kurt Russell is Kurt Russell. He's cannot be beat. But Alien is just. Alien, if you really think about it, if you watch the director's cut, especially when she comes into the hive and finds Dallas, and
Brett, I think
Brett, thank you. That's the stuff of nightmares. You wake up at 3 a.m. just screaming, ah, yeah, I would have to. It's a tough one, but the needle is slightly moving towards Alien.
Here's another question for you. I know the answer to this one from my perspective, but
okay,
yeah, Lethal Weapon or Die Hard.
Oh, why make me choose? Come on, this was the 80s, man. Why not both?
Like they're both. I mean, I will say I love both of them. I think I'd probably pick Die Hard over Lethal Weapon. It's close, but like I think that's a more fun action movie. It feels tighter and it's faster paced, and I would rather rewatch that than Lethal Weapon, but I would take both of them happily anytime.
Have you seen Netflix had it, The Movies That Made Us, and they did one on Die Hard. And it's so awesome to hear about how many of these iconic movies almost didn't happen. Or with Die Hard, they were writing the script as they went.
Yeah.
Like the whole concept of the ambulance that comes out of the truck at the end for their escape. Well, at the beginning of the movie, there's no ambulance in the truck when the bad guys come out of the truck. So they had to kind of hope that you forgot that. And that was an example of them kind of making it up as they went. But look at that movie is a cult classic. It's a cultural icon. And it can't be beat.
I think I almost need to put this into chat actually and let them do like a poll on it.
Okay, fight.
Set this up. Yeah, I want to
Round
see what
one,
chat has to
fight.
say. Yeah, for sure. Let me see if I can bring this up just while I'm here.
I mean, Lethal Weapon had Gary Busey, and Gary Busey is just off the wall, right? He lights up anything that he's in by just being
I mean,
it's hardly important, but if you must know, you may call me Mr. Joshua.
He was obviously superb in Predator 2 as well. Like a fucking alien.
I love the fact that you replayed that in your video when you did.
It's great.
Fucking alien. The lions, the tigers, the bears. Oh my.
All right, I'm going to start a poll here. So let's see. Die Hard or Lethal Weapon? All right.
Well, let's see. Well, both of them had gratuitous boobies in them, so can't.
I mean, it
switch
wasn't
them.
gratuitous in Die Hard's case. It was just a poster, really, and there was like
No.
one quick bit where they're like they catch some people fucking in an office or
Exactly.
something.
There is the gratuitous part there.
All right, I'll see what chat does with this one. The poll is up. Oh, it's going. It's quite interesting to watch it, actually.
I mean, Die Hard.
Yeah, pretty heavily skewed in Die Hard's favor. I'm not gonna lie.
Like Die Hard, you have to think about it in the context of the time. Bruce Willis, apparently, when they showed the trailer or when they did the test screenings of it, people were laughing because no one was taking Bruce Willis seriously as a action hero. And so the movie had to come out. The movie had to come out, and people had to see it, and then word of mouth got around, and then the credibility was earned afterwards. But it wasn't automatically given in the case of Mel Gibson. Everyone knew who Mel Gibson was. So Lethal Weapon had that going in.
What's the next one here? Hail Drinker and Danquish. Whatever are your thoughts on war games, Breakfast Club, or perhaps The Last Starfighter? now we're getting into it. I really like war games, actually. Like that's it's like a very charming 1980s view of like computers and stuff.
Would you like to play a game?
Yeah. Last Starfighter, I like that one as well.
Wow.
There's a lot of fun to be had for that. It's goofy fun, but it's fun.
When that movie came out, I was so captivated. I actually wrote a letter to Kenner Toys asking them, hey, Last Starfighter, have you seen it? Would you make a line of toys? I mean, I was a kid, right? What's the worst that can happen? And I wrote to Kenner, and they actually wrote back and said, thank you for your interest. We have no plans at this time, but all I wanted was a Gunstar so that I could do Death Blossom, and a Star Car. That movie.
Good shit. Scotland coming to America's World Cup party. Yeah, we're coming. Get ready for us, motherfuckers. Low budget, greatest movie, They Live. Yeah, They Live is great fun. Rowdy Roddy Piper and Keith Davids. I mean, what's not to like?
Get ready to eat that trash can.
Again, it was a movie that did have a bit to say about media manipulation and
it's very dark.
messaging, all that shit. Yeah, it's got a pretty dark ending as well, for sure. Drinker, would you say making the Xeno a pet is just as bad as killing John Connor in Dark Fate? Yes, because either way, you've assassinated a character. It's just in one case, you've done it literally, the other way, figuratively. Just as bad, though. Yeah, fuck both of those things.
I never saw Dark Fate. I watched your review, and you had me believing at, like, what did you call her? Androgynous
thing.
Yeah. Ugh. No thanks.
Yeah. Not good. I've just arrived from Earth 101. This is where the Terminator, Predator, and Alien franchises ended it too. What's all this shit that you have here? It's just nonsense. Don't worry about it too much. Go back to Earth 101. So many great people have worked together to bring the great things of old we enjoy today, but Arnold will always be my favorite actor of all time. A god among legends. His biography solidified that for me. For sure. Because, I think he was even talking about this recently. Like, guys like The Rock have supplanted him easily in terms of, like, box office revenue and stuff. But, like, who's going to remember The Rock or any of his movies versus Arnold's movies? One is, like, a legend. The other one's just a guy who made a load of money.
And I think a lot of it has to do with timing. Arnold was just at the right place at the right time for his stardom to develop. And the way our culture was, it was the perfect breeding or planting ground for movies that he would be in, right? And he's not the world's greatest actor, but he was a great action star, but also was able to do funny movies. Like Kindergarten Cop is hilarious, and it's like he's not blowing anyone away or anything, but you got to see a different side of him that made him very endearing.
But he never took himself too seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it was perfect. So, even when he was doing his action roles, there was a little bit of tongue in cheek, like with the one-liners and all that. And yeah, he was able to make fun of himself, and he knew like his deadpan sort of comedy and like his big goofy like physique and stuff. You can have a lot of fun with that in a comedy movie, and it worked. It totally worked. Yeah, has anyone seen Enemy Mine? Yeah, I've seen that.
Dennis Quaid and
Dennis Quaid, yeah. Louis
and
Gossett
Louis
Jr.
Scott Jr. Yeah, that was a great one.
Yeah. I don't know if it's based on some like older story. Like it kind of feels like, say, like an American and a Japanese pilot got shot down together in World War II and had to survive in the jungle or something. But yeah, it's got that very much that feel to it. But yeah, I like it. It's a good fun movie. Where's the next one? So I'm just going to skip between like a million different screens here. Yeah. Drinker, this is a really important message. You and Gary need to get Jay Dyer on your shows. He wrote a book about the conspiracies within Hollywood and said that fans of both of you should reach out. Ooh, tinfoil hat time then, yeah. Make that happen. Well, once Gary eventually gets back from his like little archaeological tour of Egypt, maybe I can talk to him about that. Recently developed insomnia. Worst part was passing out watching Fellowship, a blessing from the sleep gods. Got to go to bed and sat for 6 hours. Could have finished it on Towers, but no. That is an experience. Gotta love the extended editions.
You fell asleep during that?
Yeah, it must have been, I don't know. Wow. Passing out and watching Fellowship, a blessing from the sleep gods. Got up to go to bed and sat for 6 hours. Oh, right, yeah. So he was suffering from insomnia, ended up watching Fellowship, and just had a great time with it.
Okay. You shouldn't fall asleep while watching any of those movies. You got to stay riveted because every scene is better than the next.
Yeah. He's hating on Starship Troopers. Dizzy was bae for my 12-year-old self. What? Dizzy was the best.
No, I'm not hating on Starship Troopers. I'm just hating on the part at the end where the guy was trying to do his best Hudson by saying, you want some? You want some? You want some? Like, that was lame. The rest of the movie, fantastic. That's another poll. Put in there. Dizzy
or Carmen?
Or Carmen.
All right. So we've got pretty much the poll results here. We've had like over 500 votes. So it's like 76% Die Hard and 24% Lethal Weapon. So I think we can conclude Die Hard's won that one.
Okay.
So I'm going to end that poll and I'm going to bring out a new one for Dizzy or Carmen. So let's see. Start poll. Right. I think I know what the answer is going to be as well.
There's only one right answer to this. And if you guess wrong, then shame on you.
And I want to separate the actresses from the characters. Right, here we go. Let's see what they do. You have your choices here, chat. Do us proud.
Let's just say one of them has aged very nicely and the other one not so much.
One of them is mostly plastic. Oh, yep. It's pretty heavily skewed, by the way. The votes are going up like crazy on this one as well. People feel super passionate about this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're about 70% Dizzy.
Wow.
She's objectively the best girl. Let me do a few more super chats while I'm waiting for them to go in. All right, next one is... anyone else remember Michael Mann's The Keep? Yes, I do, actually. Cool little, like, horror/fantasy movie set in World War II. It's a weird melding of different genres, but it's quite an odd, interesting movie. I liked it. Yeah, it's like a squad of German soldiers that have been assigned to this castle in like Romania or somewhere during World War II. They got to hold it, not knowing that it's got like this weird like demonic presence underneath it, like that slowly starts to stalk them and drive them insane and stuff. Oh yeah.
Okay.
There's loads of good shit in it. It's a very interesting movie.
Ghost movie or
a bit of everything? Yeah, a bit of the supernatural, bit of war. It's like Ian McKellen's in it.
Okay.
And this is like 1980s, and yet he still looked fucking old even then.
Some people are just born that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I love a good ghost movie, like a good ghost story. So if anyone's got any recommendations for like, something like a good ghost story, like The Changeling or Mama, stuff like that. Like I love those movies.
Yeah. Weapons was pretty good.
Was it?
It was probably worth watching. Yeah, I would say.
Did you ever see Did you ever see The Fog?
Which one?
Both.
Okay.
I
Yes.
didn't hate the remake. I thought they did interesting things with it, but the first one was more tension to it.
Yeah, more kind of atmospheric, and yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. What's this one? I'm still in favor of referring to chat as the critical mass. I like that as well. Let's deal with that. The best love letter to 80s movies is a documentary called Chuck Norris versus Communism. It depicts the great risks us Romanians took watching VHS bootlegs of Western movies, risking our freedom at time of extreme poverty and censorship. Must see. Damn. Yeah, because I suppose that's how they would get like Western movies into these like Eastern Bloc countries, wasn't it? Just like smuggle them in by VHS tape. Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. Chuck Norris ended the Cold War. TJ Grinch says, games are the same way. Great games are few and far between. I watched Robocop for the first time before Rogue City game came out. It was awesome. Yeah, the game was awesome and the movie was awesome. So, yeah. There's still good games getting produced. Like, I've been playing Expedition 33. I've just about finished it. That's been really awesome. I've enjoyed that. Even the Tremors movies turned out to be classics compared to the nonsense today. Yeah, the first one definitely was. Like, they get a bit progressively shit as time goes on, but you know, it's to be expected.
But that was a great example of a movie that kind of was winking at the audience, like they knew that it was silly, and so all of the characters were like over the top and cartoonish, but it was still entertaining without like insulting you.
It was entertaining, and like the script accounted for everything, like why certain things happened, why they couldn't leave the valley, the way the graboids were moving towards the town, all that stuff. Like it's pretty tight as far as scripts go. I think they did a surprisingly good job for just like a low budget 80s monster flick.
And the dad from Family.
Bert,
Family Ties. Yeah, I mean, I wanted his collection. Like, holy crap, where did you get all of those? Jeez.
Well, because again, like the obvious thing would be that like, the gun nut like ends up getting undone because like he overestimates how what firepower can do. And it's like, no, this movie just leans right into it. It says, no, it's like he absolutely stands his ground and blows the shit out of this thing.
Grab the elephant gun.
Yeah. I think my favorite bit there is like it's moving around the outside of their house. It's still onto the ground, and he tries to shoot it, and his wife is like, Bert, cut it out. And he just goes, I think I scared him.
And it's Reba McEntire too, like, you know, wholesome country singer.
Yeah.
And it's like that just made it funnier.
Yeah. In 7 days, it'll be another year on. Amazing. Almost everything I see these days was done better when I was young. What happened? Hail, Drinker, and Dank. At least we can say, like, we're not missing out on anything these days. We can look down on the younger generation and say, yeah, we had it better than you.
But you see, that's the conundrum that I found myself thinking about when, like, after watching your latest Why Modern Movies Suck. Well, why, like, just really wanting to give that some thought. Like, you know, why did they go downhill, or why are they going downhill? Is it because just pure money, or have all the good stories been told? And, you know, there's nothing new under the sun. That's what what I'd really like to get to the bottom of.
Yeah. There's an infinite number of stories that can still be told.
Sure. Like,
it is money, and it is like the corporatization of it, and its lack of risk taking. Oh, those are the real problems, I think.
No, I'm just saying, like,
like
the Nathan Drake series needs to be made into more movies. Like, I need to know more about Nathan Drake. I'm just saying. The guy who wrote them, you know, he passionate writer. He writes good stories.
There you go.
Write that man a check.
Yeah. I think Willis knew something was wrong and he was banking money for his family. That seems to be the theory. Towards the end, he kind of just was taking the money and running. Jurassic Park, my favorite film of all time. That was great. It was one of the few movies I saw multiple times as a kid at the cinema.
I rewatched it actually not that long ago, just because it's been a while, and it really was a good, compelling movie. Very entertaining, imaginative,
and smart.
Yeah.
Much like, you know, we talked about like how dumb the new ones are. Like the
Mhm.
characters in that generally make smart decisions, and it grapples with interesting, smart ideas about
Mhm.
the misuse of science and like our ability to control complex systems and stuff. Like that's all good stuff. And the
And it
movie
was
doesn't
like
shoot.
it was visually spectacular. Like we all felt the sense of awe and wonder when we got to see dinosaurs on the big screen, and then it introduced raptors to the world and all that jazz. They really could have just ended it there and said, okay, that's the story we wanted to tell. Glad you enjoyed it. But nope, cha-ching, money machine, go burr, it's just, oh
Yeah.
my God, really? Now it's just silly.
Thoughts on Flash Gordon? Fucking love it. It's one of my favorite 80s movies. Absolute pure unadulterated cheese, and I'm
Mhm.
all in for it. Also 80s G.I. Joe or Transformers film. I love G.I. Joe. I love the G.I. Joe movie back in the 80s. Fucking great.
That theme, that opening sequence, that music, I still have the song, like the MP3 of that. I mean, that it's just it's another one of those things of, yeah, you just had to be there. But as a preteen, and I watched that movie, I was just like, so awesome. But speaking of Transformers, I want to say this is what Santa dropped off for me 42 years late. But he sent me an apology note saying, sorry, this fell behind the seat in my sleigh.
Oh, no way. And it's
So
boxed and everything.
brand new in box, untouched. The 13-year-old boy that lives inside me is still as excited as I would have been at the time.
Are you going to unbox it though?
No.
That's the question. Yeah, keep it like that.
No. Yeah, I still remember what it was like going to the toy store and seeing it on the shelf and just like looking at it and like weeping softly. I wish I could have it. And then some lady next to me was like, she bought it, and the clerk gets it off of the shelf and gives it to her, and I was just like, that lucky kid. Who's that kid?
She probably gave you a smug look as she walked by as well. Bitch.
Damn it, bitch. Buy me one. Anyway.
Yeah. Writers have lost the art of setup and payoff. Back
Mhm.
to the Future is perfect in this way. Rocky shows him breaking the ribs of a side of beef, and then he breaks Apollo's ribs in the fight. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, to pick an example that we talked about just a second ago, the Tremors script, right?
Mhm.
They establish right at the beginning of the movie, like the fucking refrigerator at the at Walter's store is acting up because the fan belt keeps slipping on it, right, and makes a noise. It's just like a minor thing that the characters remark upon. It happens later in the movie, and it's what gives away their position for the graboids, and it what allows one of them to come up through the floor and kill Walter. And it's like, that's neat. They didn't have to set that up, but they did. They took the time to do that. That's good writing. And if you integrate it into the story in a way that it's not obvious you're setting something up, you have done even better writing. That's
Exactly.
good stuff right there.
And it didn't need a long-winded narrative or a narration from the character or anything to spoon feed you. Remember that time when we mentioned the squeaky belt at the beginning of the movie? That's what's going to give us away this time. They would totally do that in the remake.
Thoughts on Outland with Sean Connery? That was a good like space western. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I liked it. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I remember it being pretty decent when I watched it. Kind of a slow burn, but yeah. Watching people explode when they get exposed to the vacuum of space, always fun. Thoughts on Nighthawks with Sly Stallone, Billy D. Williams, and Rutger Hauer?
Rutger Hauer. Man, no one plays a villain like Rutger Hauer.
Yeah, he is damn good. Blank Face says, hello, Drinker. I was just curious about something with you. Are you an evil bigot, man? Yes, I'm all the bigots. I hate everyone equally. Wait, does that make me an egalitarian? I don't know how it works. It's just whatever. Don't worry about it too much. Mr. Drinkerton, will you play the Lord of Ring Gollum? I don't know. I don't think I can equal Gary's epic playthrough of that. So I just feel like I'm an amateur with video games compared to the likes of him. Maybe one day when I screw up the courage. Evil Black Cat says, if you haven't already, watch anything by the late Satoshi Kon. Perfect Blue, Paprika, Tokyo Godfathers, and Millennium Actress, his magnum opus. Nice. I will take that as a recommendation right there. And yeah, watch Niza and Niza 2. Misa 2 is like made $2 billion. It's like the biggest movie of the year so far. And it's not even from America. It's wild, man.
What are they?
They are animated movies from China.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that's become the biggest movie of the year.
Wow.
By far.
Okay.
Whether Avatar 3 will dethrone it, I don't know. I kind of don't care.
You know it
Avatar.
will, and it is what it is. The only thing I can do is James Cameron won't be getting my money for that.
Yeah. Yar, matey. I think what I'll probably do is finish up there because I know we've been streaming for like 2.5 hours, something like that.
Okay.
We've tried to cover as many movies as we could, but man, as you could probably imagine, we barely scratched the surface of like the epicness of 80s and 90s flicks. But we've done our best. I guess the big takeaway from this stream is we had it a lot better when we were kids, and I don't think we appreciated it as much as we should have back then. But if you belong to the younger generation and you've not seen a lot of these movies we've talked about, please make the time and go watch them. It'll make your life better.
It might also make you sad as well. Of like, wow, this is what you guys got to grow up with, and this is what I got to grow up with. It's not fair.
That's true. But it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all.
Very true, and that's beautiful. I think you should play the opening video again.
That is actually a pretty good way to end it, to be honest. Sequel stream, we might just do that. Yeah, let's see if I can bring that up, and I'll just end it with that. But well, I will leave you in the capable hands. And well, before I go, I want to say, Danquish, thank you for doing this, man.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and thank you for the opportunity to reminisce, and thank you to all of us, all the people that joined. The 80s were awesome.
They were. And we will leave you in the hands of 1980s action heroes. But for now, that's all we got for today. So go away now.